Good afternoon, good evening, Sector 1 sim racing fans from Australia, New Zealand, and around the world. Welcome back to more Sector 1 sim racing action. For some of us, we haven't had a break. We did have a race last weekend, but there was a break prior to that, and I feel like I haven't been involved in a Sector 1 event for a long, long time, and it is great to be back, and what a better way to come back than to go to Croix in France, the fictional circuit. The version best representation of Le Mans through fictional creation here in Gran Turismo. It's a great circuit, plus 3 minute lap times in the Group 2 Honda NSX tonight. It's going to be a huge challenge for our drivers, and I'm really excited to see who comes out on top. Group A action tonight for you at home. That's Division 3 and Division 1. Here in Sector 1 Sim Racing, I am joined for race number 1 by the very lovely Snake Eyes. Say hello, good sir. And so we are here at St. Croix for some awesome action here in Division 3. Now, what have you seen in practice from these guys, Snake Eyes? Who's showing the pace round here? Thank.
Right pace is actually going to be, what should I say? It's probably not going to be the all-out with this track. It's just such sort of a technical track, but it's also a long track. So I think a lot of it's going to come down to, people when they choose their pit stops and if they're going to do a one or a two stop, that sort of thing.
Right, so one of those tracks where he who dials it back to 8/10 will be the winner, and the sort of the raw pace isn't a huge factor. So that should be very interesting, and that long sweeping corners of this track sounds to me like we're going to have a bit of a tyre wear session in our hand. That seem right to you?
Yeah, look, it is a pretty low grip track. The tyres will get a bit worn, but I don't think it's going to be overly excessive. I think it's going to be a fuel fight, to be honest.
You're concerned. Okay, so let's have a look at our standings for Division 3 as of round 4, just gone. So we're just gone halfway through the season, so we got a really good idea of our standings as they sit now. So Boy Begum leads the way for CP Motorsports with 111 points ahead of Levenspiel of Red Mist Racing in second. Gurr or Graham in third there for Datsun Racing Team is not too far behind those guys. He's sitting in the 90s, and Revs Law, the promotion from Division 4 last season as the champion to Division 3. He'll be happy to be where he is this season, starting off nice and strong. We're coming into the business end of the season now, where we're really going to get down to the nitty-gritty and who's got what it takes to win this championship. How do you feel we're stacking up in comparison to our standings tonight, Snake Eyes?
Well, look, you can't really take out Boy Begum, can you? Like, he is winning, so there's always that. He's going to be obviously at the pointy end. You would think. I think you're going to get 11 Spill. You'd think would be up there as well because he's running currently seventh, and then you got Gurr, and also Revs is hot on the tail as well. So it's going to be an interesting one. But there's, you just never know with this race and this track. Someone from way down the back that you sort of don't expect could come out and have a rip of a race as well.
Yeah, I think that podium is definitely tight enough to be well and truly undecided at this stage of the season. The person that I'm keeping an eye on is VF in E8. So he was a secondary promotion from Division 4 to Division 3, and it turned out to be the decision of the year, I think, to get him in that division, because he's really found his feet here. Currently sitting P8, but he's had some stellar performances so far in that Datsun Black and Gold. So I'm excited to see what he can do tonight. And it seems like the sort of track that he'll excel at as well. He seems to like the longer ones, so I think we'll see some good performance from him tonight. Let's have a look at the track in question. In any case, we touched on it before, but here it is on your screen. So Class C, the C layout being the longest layout of the three options, A, B, C. The B layout being favoured very heavily by the Deeds drivers, but we're not there today. We are, in fact, at C, which is a very, very long circuit. We've got, how many corners does it say there? I can't quite see. Let's have a look. 24 corners, I think that says, which is kind of a bit on the conservative side. I think you can see on the track map there, the twists and turns on this circuit are all over the place, and there's a full-on S section in the final sector as well, which really pulls a solid challenge for these guys. It's a 15-lap race here tonight, so that's a bit shorter than what we would normally expect to be in the 20s for lap count, but given the lap is so long, we've had to cut it down to about 15 laps. So it's going to take about the same amount of time as usual to get through the entire session here at Croix. So racing mediums, our only tyre of choice tonight, and you can see there 4 times tyres and 4 times fuel as well. That gives you an idea of the wear rates that we're dealing with for these guys, and we'll move over as well to the strategy for tonight's race. So the medium tyres only, there's 2 options by the look of things. It's suggested that you're not going to be able to make it to the end on tyres as they are, and there's an option there to do a 2-stop strategy as well. So 5 laps per stint, pit in twice instead of just the once. And I believe it takes a bit of fuel saving to get to that midway point. You want to do a 1-stop. Is that right, Snake Eyes?
Yeah, well, you've got an uneven set of laps, so you've either got to do an 8 and a 7 or a 7 and an 8 if you're going to do a 1-stop. I'm pretty sure with this car, these fuel settings on such a large track, if you just try and go all out, I think 6 laps is about all you're going to get out of it.
Wow, so you've got to be able to clock 8 laps at least once in order to make that 1-stop work. So that's going to be a bit of a struggle, I think. And it's one of those things as well, fuel saving. If you've got to fuel save that much, if you're going to make, a lap and a half extra or a lap and a quarter extra of fuel around the track this length, you're going to have to dial it back a bit, and that'll put you off the pace of the guys who aren't doing that, and then you lose the pack, and you'll be worried that you're doing the wrong thing, and it can really get in your head if you're trying an alternate strategy. So mental strength is going to be a big factor in this event tonight, I think. So should be very, very interesting to see. So our drivers are all staged up, and I think we might be ready to go to qualifying, and a longer qualifying session for these guys tonight as well. So are we ready, Snake Eyes?
Yes, we are. I shall send them off very shortly.
Right, so an extended 15-minute qualifying session for these guys due to the nature of the circuit. Of course, quite a long track, 3 minutes plus per lap. We want to give them a little bit of extra time to find their way around and get those laps in. And it will mean that the fuel load comes down quite significantly, but we'll see how the cars handle that around. It might be a case of getting in 1 or 2 banker laps nice and early, really finding your feet on the circuit during the session, then pit in for a fresh set of tyres, get going again. And I get the feeling with a 15-minute session, might be looking at a slight bit of fuel being put in during the session. In fact, we might see cars running the tank completely dry. I see.
Alrighty, I shall send them off then.
Alrighty, drivers ready and waiting. Let's go to qualifying. It's going to be an exciting night of racing. Division 3 up first, and then later Division 1 as well. Really excited to see how this all plays out tonight. And this track is going to really, really mix it up, guys, I think. So this should be very, very exciting. Onto the track for you guys in just a second. Our 15-minute, I nearly said 10 minutes there. Our 15-minute session underway here at Croix for the first time. So, have a look at our drivers, and got plenty of time to do that this time around. Unlike with most tracks, this track being so long. So, Squirrel representing Black Rose there. Enright sponsorship on the front bumper there as well, or on the bonnet rather. Got a car weaving in the background to get some heat in the tyres. These guys are really feeling the extended session, I think. I think, the long sessions really feel like true racing. You can really spend some time finding your space on the track and getting into your own groove, which is cool. Carbon Boy finds himself out in P2, driving for APR Motorsport. Our automotive badging on the side there, owned by our very own Adam Pruitt. Own business. We're very happy to have him as part of the Sector 1 setup here. Boy become your series leader at the moment, or division leader rather, driving for CP Motorsports there in the black and grey. He's Done very well this season, been very, very dominant so far, so definitely knocking on the door of Division 2 times. Got to win this championship first. Here he is, currently third on track. Getting around on his outlap. I think he'll probably be the favourite to set the pole lap this time around here at Croix. And I think, I don't know if it's going to change it up too much, the length of this track, you know, how long you have to kind of stay on that 10/10 pace around here at Croix. It's a long time to drive at 100% for, so I wonder if that's going to really make a change for these guys. And the fast sweeping corners as well, not a lot of hairpins around this track, this corner in particular as well. Very, very tough to get right lap after lap because it's so changeable. The camber is strange, the markers are strange, and just the way the corner tightens is just so odd and very, very unsettling a lot of the time. So this is Robert Rice, or Revs as he is more popularly known, winner of Division 4 last season, sporting a new style on the Kung Fu racing team Honda NSX, pink and I think that's white or silver, pink, white, silver and black it looks like, and it really sticks out, doesn't it? So I think that's very, very cool. Looks quite retro as well, so I'm a big fan. Seeing some Japanese decals on the side there, that's very, very cool. So he'll be looking to maintain that 4th place or maybe challenge for podium positions here today, and he's looking all the better for it. Killer on the loose in 5th on track at the moment. Looks like he's hunting a slipstream here as well from Revs out in front of him. See how these guys kind of dial in for the start of the flying lap. Very, very close there is Killer on the loose. I wonder if he backs Revs to set a faster lap time, and then he just wants to kind of hold on for as long as possible. We'll see. That's the Lightning Motorsport car. White and green. Eye out for that. A very strong competitor, was a Red Mist driver, now Lightning Motorsport. Good performer in Division 3. Killer on the loose. Got Gur in P6 at the moment, and he's dropping a toe to Black Project as well. So Gur here driving for Dadson Racing Team, the black and gold, as we talked about before. He's actually got a teammate here in the form of VF, or I might be mistaken with that actually, but I haven't seen him yet. And there's a bit of a loose there on the way through the hairpin. That's turn number 2. Turn number 3 if you count the first corner. Got behind Black Project. Remains on a flyer from Croix Esports. Black and orange. Bright orange as well. Very easy car to spot. Getting a little bit loose on the way out there as well. Croix, the owner of APR Automotive, driving for APR Motorsport. And is he... sorry. Snake Eyes, who were our call-ups for tonight? There's a couple of replacement drivers we've got on the call.
I know that there's Poppers.
Right. So Pete Pops for call-up for his teammate.
I'm just seeing in the chat, somehow I might have only set this for 10 minutes instead of 15 like we told them.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh no, that might be the timer that I've got on the stream. Do you want?
Okay.
Is that coming from a driver, or is that coming from a viewer? Oh, 10 minutes on the clock.
Coming up on the chat.
Yeah. So Shizer's not in the lobby, so he's just seeing what's on the stream, and the stream is not correct. That's true. So what I will do is I will see what I can do about that timing.
That's alright. I just wanted to make sure. I was pretty sure I set it for 15 minutes, but I just didn't want him to lose out on that extra lap or something, just in case.
No, you're all good. So that is an error on my part, so we'll just blank that off. Go. We've got rid of that there. So got no timer on the stream because I'm not capable of adjusting it on the fly. But you got your timer on the bottom left there. It's counting up. 5, nearly 6 minutes on the clock now. And then we're going to go up to 15 before we stop the session. Petey Pops is standing in for the Stranger as well, by the way, so thank you very much for letting us know about that.
And as we, just as we are talking about the 15 minutes, I don't know about the stream, but I cannot see any times coming up, hence why we did the 15 minutes.
Well, they're still on their first flying lap, so that's probably...
Yeah.
They haven't yet crossed the line, so we'll keep an eye out for that. So I'm just going to roll through our last few drivers. So Croix, team owner at APR Motorsport and APR Automotive, the business sponsoring that team. Petey Pops in P9's had a run of poor luck over the course of this season, unfortunately, so he'll be hoping to improve that. It's the first representative times come in as we go across the line. Levenspiel P10 for Red Mist Racing. That was one of the ones we kind of eyed up as a potential challenger for Boybagum here. Got VF in P11, so he is sporting the Dadson colours, and that is one of the guys I want to keep an eye out for, definitely. He's a very, very strong competitor, and he's really put his name in the hat here in Division 3 after getting a call up late from Division 4 at the start of the season. Daz 930 for Deeds. Deeds, a little bit disappointed not to be racing at Croix B, but and Croix C is perfectly fine. He'll do pretty well. In fact, he goes up to P5, which he'll be quite happy about. And let's have a look now that our drivers have all come across the line. Our standings, as they sit with about 7.5 minutes left on the clock. Revs currently leads the way. He's purple as well, but he's obstructed by a bit of traffic. It looks like that's his title rival as well. Not title rival, but the current series leader in the form of Boybagum just in front of him, who's currently got a 1.2 second deficit on the board. And Squirrel, the three of them all together, look at this. So this is a trio of cars all vying for the same spot at the front of the grid. Let's jump on board with Revs and just have a look at how this looks. Boybagum a little bit loose through there.
Just a bit of a shout out to Poppers too, who's 10th currently.
Right, that's good. He'll be pretty happy to start off there with his banker at the very least. So it looks like Squirrel's pulling away from these two a little bit. I get the feeling, if I was Revs right now, actually he's backing off, in fact, so there you go, he's bailed out of this lap. So he's looking to increase the space and give himself an opportunity a bit later on to go for another fast lap without obstruction. So I was going to say, if he sticks close, as long as he stays within range, he won't be, unseated by these guys because we're on the same pace, So it wouldn't have been terrible to stay with them, but I think it's a good decision to bail out, find your own space on track, and get going on your own. Because Boybagum now is getting held up a little bit by Squirrel because he's just got a massive slipstream down to that hairpin. And then had to pull out of the slipstream to get himself a bit of clean air into the braking zone because he was so close. He's on a personal best, but not by much.
Well, Squirrel goes a little bit wide, I think.
So Squirrel's going to bail out of that lap. That'll be frustrating because that's right at the end of the circuit. Two corners to go. And you make a mistake like that, throw the whole lap away. That's really, really upset about that. Because he might have been on to beat Boybagum's time there, I think. But Boybagum was on a personal best. Carbon Boy up to second. The huge move for the APR Automotive car. Up to P2, just outside of second. And Black Project to second instead. Goes within 7/10. It's all coming apart now. Boybagum tumbles down the order to 4th. Remainder of Division 3 saying, you're not having this championship easy, mate. Not on my watch.
Especially with this track, it's going to open things up quite a lot, I think.
And I get the feeling a slipstream is going to be exceptionally valuable around here. So a couple of guys playing the strategic game. BF with a 316, yeah. Daz up to 5th. Good for the Deeds car.
I think if they can sort of back off, give them a little bit of space if they are catching people, and then sort of catch them just at the right moment, maybe over the bridge onto that back straight, right. And get that bit of a tow, they could give themselves quite a very good time.
Yeah, definitely. That break is huge. 0.054 purple for Daz. He's not messing around. That sector might only be 1.5 corners, but he's putting his stake on this one. Daz is showing true pace here. We love to see.
Boybegum's back behind Squirrel, so something must have happened there.
Expect a mistake on this lap from Boybegum if that's the case. Squirrel will still be on a flyer. What a lap from Carbon Boy. 3:15.2. Put himself in P3. Box seat right now. Boybegum will definitely want to get on at least on the front row.
Eleven spilled down in 7th. I thought he'd be up a bit higher.
3/10th personal best for Carbon Boy. It's not quite enough to unseat Black Project at this stage, but he's got a very technical section coming up where he can find that extra half a tenth. Clock him a second place on the grid. Black Project currently on the back straight as well. So Carbon Boy will come across the line first once they get there. Let's ride on board for the technical section, give you guys a sense of speed through here. Curb on the left and it's flat on the curb on the right. Oh wow, so he's put it in the fence there. So there goes that lap. I think he's now 2.5 tenths down. Commentator's curse. Strikes Carbon Boy. Sorry, Carbon Boy. We'll pull it off you. Onto the nearest rival. 2.6 seconds down on his best. So now these guys don't have time to go for a pit stop here, so they're going to have to fly through and go for one final flyer. 2 minutes on the clock.
Boybegum's got a bit of damage. I think he had a bit of a mishap as well.
Boybegum currently 5th. Who was that who set a time? Squirrel. Squirrel goes 3:14.1. He's 0.018 off Rebs. I don't even remember seeing that. That was absolutely insane. That is one of the closest margins around a track of this length. To be that close. And he's a 10th purple through the first sector as well. Black Project, last chance here for him. Levenspiel goes to 4th. There's that lap you were expecting there, Snake Eyes.
Yeah.
That's a bit more what we expected from the Red Mist driver. Daz goes to P5. Every time Daz sets a lap, he goes to P5. Every time. That's 3 times now he's set a lap and he's just jumped up to P5. I don't know how he does it.
He wants to be mid-pack. He wants to be that mid-pack.
He does. Top 5, 3rd row. Love it.
Yep.
Beauty. Nice one, Daz. Keep it up, mate. One more lap. Last lap. He's purple by a 10th. He's done it again. Rebs needs to improve his lap. He's not safe whatsoever. Oh, he's gone a bit loose there on the exit. Follow him down here. This 90-degree left-hander. Really power out of this one. Use up the grass there on the outside as well. And then swing it left and right down here. As you cut to the right, lift off, a little bit of brakes as you come through here. And then hard on the brakes as you approach the bridge. About a 3rd gear exit there, I think, onto the bridge. You've got to avoid that wall on the left-hand side. That is a really, really dangerous part of the track and can totally end your race. 1.3 seconds down for Rebs. He will not improve this lap. He bails out. He doesn't want to give the Lightning Motorsport car any support. Let's have a look at how long this straight is. Squirrel has just popped out of the corner that leads onto it. Over the crest here, he's 1.152 purple. This could be it. Squirrel for pole position. This is how long this straight is. Approaching 300 k's an hour down here. You've got to look out for the 150 meter board for the brakes on the left. Hard on the brakes down for the for the hairpin here. Tuck it in. And then 2nd gear exit. Get very loose there. And through the S's. You'll lift. Slight brakes on the way through here. Really hard to nail this corner. You never feel like you're fast enough. Throw it in here to the left and then floor it. Take the right. Up here, you've got to be very, very careful on approach to this corner. He's no longer purple as we come through the final sector. Plant your foot on the exit there. Use the exit curve on the left. It's a little bit of time lost there in the last sequence of corners. A left and a right. And he's got loose on the way out. He'll drive to the line. Who's the driver across the line first? Carbon Boy goes to third. Squirrel goes across the line. No improvement. Will not beat out Revs. Black Project still to come. Boy Begum cannot go better than 7th. Killer to 8th. Black Project coming through the final sequence of corners now. Black Project is well down here. So he's not going to improve his time. Levenspiel's still got one to set. There's an APR automotive car in front of him as well. He might have picked up a slipstream from him. 2 APR cars will come across the line. No improvement for the first. No improvement for the second. And no improvement for Levenspiel. Who's yet to come? VF yet to come. Daz up to third. Daz does 2 better. Nice work, Daz. What a lap from the Deeds car. VF to the line. It's not going to be an improvement, unfortunately. And that is the qualifying session done. That one threw me. They kept chopping and changing every lap. No 2 laps the same. But Revs managed to hold on to that first place for the entirety of the session. Very, very well done. So, let's bring up our qualifying results. Here we are. Your grid for Division 3. Revs on pole position. I think that might be Revs' first pole in Division 3 here. So he'll be very, very happy with that one. Squirrel in P2. Again, probably quite happy with that. Although a little bit disappointed not to go that 0.018 faster over the 3-minute lap. But P2, nothing to scoff at. That's the front row. And it's definitely an opportunity into turn 1. Daz 930 in P3. The Deeds car right up the top there. You love to see it. Carbon Boy for APR Automotive in 4th. Black Project in 5th. And Levenspiel 6th. Could not improve on the last lap, but manages to put himself mid-pack. Boy Begum, the shock of Division 3, down in 7th. Not able to get himself within the top 5 even here, and a second off Revs, unfortunately. Looked like just an unfortunate series of laps where he wasn't able to string one together. Killer on the loose in P8 and VF P9. Graham in 10th, PD Pops in 11th, and Croix in P12. So that leaves us with the grid looking like this. The front row belongs to Revs and Squirrel. The second row, Daz and Carbon Boy. The third row, Black Project and Levenspiel. And the fourth row, Boy Begum and Killer on the loose. Now, I am very excited to see what Boy Begum does this race, because the strategy could make all the difference. We've talked about that already tonight. The fuel strategy, taking it to 1 stop, or making a second stop, just to make sure that you can push the entire race. But I get the feeling there's going to be a lot of people going for that fuel save. So very, very close up the top end. In fact, the third driver on the grid, Daz, was only 0.032 off Revs. That's a closer gap than Revs to Squirrel. And then Carbon Boy was very close as well. He was just over half a tenth behind Revs as well. So incredibly close at the top end. And Black Project, a fair way down, but still in the 14s, as well as Levenspiel. And it was only down in 7th that we dropped to the 15s as well. So very, very competitive at the top end here in Division 3. We'll give these guys a moment to mentally prepare themselves for the mountain they have to climb here in Division 3. It's going to be a really excellent race. Your thoughts, Snake Eyes?
Yeah, I tell you what, after that, you think with the top, I think the top 4 are within like less than a tenth of each other. Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a tough race for everyone, I think. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just looking at the chat. There's a bit of stuff going on in the chat at the same time. Yeah, look, it's going to be a really good race. I think it could be the race of the season so far. I think it's a large track. It's a very technical track in spots. A lot of the corners aren't the greatest of corners, if you know what I mean. With they're a little bit off camber. They're slippery. You know, they tighten a little bit partway through, like you start to come out of it, and instead of sort of opening up a little bit, they tighten up.
Yeah, they are a tough sequence of corners. So definitely one to watch out for these guys. So I think we're gonna run through a lobby adjustment and adjust the grid to suit. So we'll go to a quick intermission and let you guys grab your snacks, grab your garlic bread, your caramello koala, whatever you need for the race upcoming. And we'll be back in a couple of minutes to bring you the best action from Sector 1 here tonight.
But if you're on Bob, how does that make any difference?
Welcome back, S1 Sim Racing fans from Australia, New Zealand, and around the world. We are about to go racing here at Croix. Division 3 is staged and ready to go, so the action is back and running. And we have our grid order all sorted out for tonight's racing. So what do you say, Snowfires? Do we get these guys underway?
Yeah, I think so. I think we don't want to keep them waiting any longer after that.
No worries. All right, so I hope you have your snacks ready because this is going to be a great night of racing. So sit back, relax, enjoy what's coming, and make sure you drop your support for your favourite team you're supporting in the chat down here, and let us know who you're here for and who you're watching because they'll want your support, I'm sure, in this race. So going to the grid now for Croix Round 5, Division 3. And the Honda NSX GT 500. Go to the grid. Revs on pole with a great qualifying session. Will lead the way. Squirrel in second, away they go. Lights are out and the drivers go racing.
Good jump from Carbon Boy.
Have a look here. Back from Revs. There's a bit of contact with the wall there. Someone's gone into it, and there's a deep car there from Deeds, and there's a bit of a contact up the front as well. It's been a hectic start to the race. That might be a red flag. There's been a lot of cars involved in that one.
I'm gonna red flag that one.
Righty, no worries. We will pull away from the action in that case. On the way through there, I think. So definitely a bit of hip and shoulder. 3 cars in the wall as they headed through turn number 2. Wow, tough way to start your race, that's for sure, here at Croix.
Oh, another one's gone. Yeah, I think they're starting to see.
Yeah, definitely. So these guys will come back to the grid. We'll restart it. Not with 1 lap less, but we will get these guys off and running once again. Do a restart. We've lost no cars to mechanical failure, so that's all good. How this goes from here.
There we go.
Set this grid up again, so we'll get that off and running for you guys. Have Division 3 away in racing very, very shortly. It's a tough first sequence of corners to get when you're barreling down to it with that many cars at once as well. Especially too wide through that first left-hander. It's a very, very high-speed corner. And it's barely flat at the best of times. And, of course, you're coming off the grid start, so you're a bit down on your pace, what you'd usually have. So it's pretty easy flat first time around. But when you're too wide through there, and there's a wall coming up very fast on the outside, it can be easy to go into it. It looks like that was kind of what set off the chain reaction there. So hopefully we don't see that again. You guys have learned from what happened that time. See if we can pick that up. Off. Guys.
Just waiting for one more to tick in.
Go to a grid set. They're all ready to go. It's cool, they're all ticked in now. So I'll read you the grid order once again. Ready to rock?
Yeah.
We should have Revs.
Yep.
Squirrel.
Yep.
Daz.
Yep.
Carbon Boy.
Yep.
Black Project.
Yep.
Living Spiel.
Yep.
Boy Begum.
Yep.
Killer on the Loose.
Yep.
VF.
Yep.
Graham.
Yep.
Kitty Pops.
Yep.
And Pruitt. So no need to adjust it.
No.
That's convenient. Gran Turismo 7 finally doing something that helps us out. So there you go. All right. Well, in that case, I say we go straight back to the grid.
Yeah, I think so.
All righty. Guys, off and running once again. Division 3, ready to go racing for the second time of asking here at Croix. Let's see a bit of a cleaner start from these guys and run through the first sequence of corners. Nice and strong. Should be a lot of fun to watch this one, I think. A hectic bit of battling. And those top 4 definitely going to make things interesting for us. Sure. So, go to the grid now. Here we are, St. Croix C. Our drivers are staged up, ready to go. The lights are coming on. Rev's on pole position. Will take it away for us here at St. Croix. The lights go out and we go racing here. And someone's in reverse at the back there and someone has spun around. The Lightning Motorsport car started off in reverse. I don't know how.
That was rather bizarre.
Somehow has driven backwards into the car behind them. Down the inside goes Squirrel on Revs. Nearly into the fence. There's someone on the fence there at the back. There goes one. We've got a second one gone at the second corner as well. Carbon Boy and Pruitt at the back. And there is a Black Project as well.
We've got another one. That's
Drop
3.
down. Well, it's at your discretion. I think...
yeah,
whatever you want to do.
I think I'm actually going to red flag it again, to be honest.
Okay, no worries. We'll take these guys back to the lobby and see where we're at. We might give them a bit of a debrief on the racing standards as well, just to make sure everyone sort of knows where we're at.
They might end up with a roll and start the way they're going.
Might have to, yeah. I think that would definitely be a way to get it done. But
Yeah.
third time might be a charm. See for these guys what they can do. Go to a quick intermission while we get this all set up. And get this back to you guys very, very shortly. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are ready to go racing for the third time of asking here at St. Croix for Division 3. This time, we hope it will be a clean race start and we will get you guys going. So what do you say, Snake Eyes? We get this action underway?
Yeah, third time lucky.
Third time's a charm for sure. Let's make it happen, guys. So remember your strategy predictions. 5 laps or 7/8 laps is your pit window for this track. 2 stop or 1 stop depending on strategy choice. So this time, run through and see if these guys can make it through the first sequence of corners cleanly. Division 3, ready to roll here at St. Croix. For the third time of asking, the last standing start should we see another red flag. We're going to be away racing here in 3, 2, 1, and we are off. Revs will lead us away. It's a clean start from all. It looks like the Croix Esports car has got away well there too. Here we go on board with Revs, and he's had a couple of bites at the cherry here to make sure he knows how to place the car into this first sequence of corners. Squirrel's going to go for the move up the inside. Revs manages to hold on to it. It looks like the guys have all got through nice and clean here.
Yeah, that's better. That's a better start. Let's hope this second corner is the same.
Look back again from Revs. We got 2 cars coming down the inside. It looks like Squirrel down the inside there. It goes a little bit deep under brakes, and it looks like Revs is going to get a switchback here. He'll find himself on the outside for the left-hander, and Squirrel's going to try to take it away from him. Revs runs it to the outside. That's good. Holds the inside for the right-hander here. It's right, left as we go through, and Revs finally puts his stamp of authority on this first place. The top 5 beginning to skip away here.
I'm just starting to wonder whether Squirrel and Carbon Boy might be going to do a 2-stop, and maybe Revs is going to do a 1-stop. They seem to be quite keen to get past him, and I'd say by the look of it that Revs might be trying to save a bit of fuel.
He looks to be on the back foot a little bit. One thing that's worth noting as well, though, is this is the first round in the Sector 1 Championship to be run on a new slipstream setting, the weak slipstream setting. Now, the reason for the change there is because on Real, the slipstream has a very poor dirty air effect, which causes drivers to not be able to follow closely, particularly in a higher aero car like this one, as Squirrel takes the lead from Revs after a mistake approaching the bridge. Revs on the back foot for the entire first half of this lap has finally surrendered the lead, and Squirrel will lead the way onto the back straight. But I get the feeling that with this new slipstream setting, Revs is going to have a pretty easy time getting by. But this will be telling as well. With a bit of slipstream, that's Squirrel into the wall. A little bit of moving around there as well, and now he's boxed in the Deeds car behind, and that's a gift come early for Revs. He's pulled away to over a second. Now, so the slipstream that I was talking about here, this is where it gets really important. Down this straight, the slipstream is effective to a longer distance. It's a bit stronger, but the dirty air effect is less, so the cars can follow a bit more closely through the high-speed corners. So that's why we've changed it. That's why this new setting is in place, and that's why there's been an accident in the background there. That's not why, but there has been an accident in the background there. I don't know who got turned around. It looks like it might have been Levensfield or Boybegum.
No, it's Daz, and he's been put back to last place, unfortunately.
No. Have a look on board with him. See what happened. So here we go into the hairpin. On board with Daz. He's got a car behind. Goes a little bit deep into the corner. And just lights up the rear on exit. Might have been contact from Boybegum. It's hard to tell. Lucky to ghost there and stay out of the way of those guys behind him. But unfortunately, for Daz, that's really ruined his race here. He'll be disappointed with that one, for sure.
Yeah, it's a very long race though, and a very strategic race. So, like, you know, yeah, he did start third, and he has lost a lot of positions, but you just never know.
It is. There's plenty of time to fight this one back. So, we'll check in with our leaders. Revs continues to hold the lead. Squirrel has dropped to 3rd place behind Carbon Boy, who's done a great job to get up to 2nd here. He's in a really, really good spot. Boybegum's the other one to watch at the moment, currently in 6th place, up from 7th, and Croix has got himself elevated up to 7th as well. So it looks like a couple of guys have dropped down a little bit and jumbled up the order for us. kind of settling into their rhythm now. This is the part where the strategies will start coming into play. Those that are fuel saving will drop back on pace, and those who aren't will find themselves being a little bit faster than the cars around them. Top three with a bit of a gap.
Hoppers is doing alright too, currently sitting in ninth.
Off to a good start. He's got VF on his rear bumper, in fairness, but he's Dadson sandwich at the moment as well, so he's got to be careful that these guys don't pull a fast one on him. Might have to seek some assistance from Croix in front.
Rebs is stretching that lead now. I don't think if anyone can pull up to the back of him, they're going to get any air off him down the back straight.
1.6 seconds. I get the feeling that the weak slipstream is effective to about 1.5 or 2 seconds. I'm not 100% sure. So this might be the part where we see. We'll keep an eye on the delta as we come through there. So the person I want to watch right now, and this is very exciting, is Croix. Croix, for those who don't know, has the nickname in Sector 1 of Wide Hips. And the reason for that nickname is his masterful defense ability in the racing situations. And as you can see here, he's got a 3-car train behind him. These guys, you can guarantee, are all going to want to get by. And I get the feeling that his defense is what's going to concertina these guys up even more than they already are. So let's keep an eye on Croix and see what he can do here. On board now with the APR automotive car. So the slipstream on this back straight prove effective for for Gur rather, and there you go, a defensive move already. Clear intentions from Croix, not leaving his opponents guessing at all. An early break there from Gur. Looks like Graham might be looking to save a bit of fuel here, so possibly the best course of action in this situation. Find yourself in a slipstream / dirty air of someone like this who's going to defend as much as possible. And there's a bit of contact there on the way through there as well. Looked like a much faster corner from Graham. But using that slipstream to your advantage and saving that fuel could prove to be very advantageous in the late stages of this race. Come through on the way to the home straight. Still looking back from Croix's car.
Squirrel's done a 3:14.8.
Way to start the race. He's got the better of Carbon Boy as well. At some point, possibly on the back straight. Croix making defensive moves as well, still here. Getting in the head of the drivers behind. Late on the brakes there from the Dadson car. Pushes Croix a little bit wide of the apex there, but Croix manages to hold on to it. He's looking really comfortable right now in this position. See how that race evolves further down the line. Looks like Carbon Boy's dropped a wee way back from Squirrel, who's actually filling in the gap to Rebs as well. Squirrel looks to have pace right now. That might be the difference. The 2-stop and the 1-stop. Might be seeing a second stop from Squirrel and just the one from Rebs. Keep an eye on things and see what happens there. Purple again. Rebs by comparison, a 3:15.6 last lap. And nearly a second between these guys. 3:14.8 for Squirrel. A second difference. That could be a fuel save. That might be what's making the difference. So that is a interesting development for sure. And I'm excited to see where this leads us. Divergence and strategy is always an exciting part of this racing. Very excited to see what happens.
I think Carbon Boy is like a second off Rev's time as well, so that's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what the times do and whether Squirrel does bring Revs back in and whether he is going for a different strategy.
Black Project's in the fight as well. He's only a 1.5 seconds off Carbon Boy too, so definitely not out of this yet. Levenspiel in 5th ahead of the series leader Carbon Boy, Boy Begum. Mixing up the names. Both got Boy in it. Close enough, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Levenspiel leads Boy Begum, who will be looking to make improvements. Now let's have a look at the slipstream. So 1.1 seconds is the gap. Unclear if Squirrel got a launch on Revs, but he is filling the gap. Not sitting in the slipstream at the moment. Croix has disconnected from the lobby.
Oh,
He's
no.
suffered a disconnect, unfortunately, and Graham has been elevated to 7th. Petey Pop's in 8th. Ahead of VF
Wow.
now. This battle is really heating up here too. Killer on the loose involved as well.
I know Pro was having some technical issues earlier, but he was actually looking good in the race. So that's quite unfortunate.
Didn't quite get a look in at it, unfortunately. Not able to see. This battle really getting hot. Unfortunate for Croix. Those issues. Oh, that'll be super frustrating. He was in such a good position. Be disappointed by that for sure. Revs is being caught by Squirrel still, who goes very deep on the brakes there, really letting him know that he's there. It's a matter of when and not if at this point. Let's see. On board with Squirrel. About 7/10 the gap, 6/10 coming down very quickly. And word from the paddock, Brewers disconnect was caused by a power outage in his area. So
That's disappointing.
not even the internet woes or network issues, but I don't know if it's caused by a natural disaster, but a power outage, which is obviously well and truly out of his control. Super unfortunate, especially given his position. That was a really good spot for him to be in. And I
Yeah,
was
especially
excited to see
considering
him.
his quali.
Yeah,
He didn't have really good quality, the poor fella, and so he was getting up into a really good position there. I don't know if I'm telling any secrets or not, but just looking at the rev counter between the different cars and stuff, I would suggest that Squirrel is going for a 2-stop.
does look like he's in mode push. He's not
Yeah.
really catching revs too much through the corners, but on the straights he's really giving it to him. So
Yeah.
it makes sense, most definitely. He's lost a lot of time through that couple of sectors there.
I'd
Does
say
anyone else look
Carbon
like they're on
Boy.
the 2-stop?
I'd say Carbon Boy, Black Project, Lev, Boy Begum, Gur, Killer. Killer? No, not Killer. Killer could be on a 2-stop. Sort of got to wait till they're sort of under throttle a bit to see where they're.
Back straight's definitely gonna prove to be some
Yeah.
interesting info for you.
Poppers
that-
looks like he could be fuel saving.
That gap's coming down between Squirrel and Revs on this back straight. Clear sign, I think. Found about 3/10 in the last couple of corners.
Yeah, I think there might be three to four guys in here that are going for a 2-stop by the look of it.
Goes Killer on Boy Begum, on Gur, sorry. I missed my names there on the sheet. Elevates himself to 7th. A Lightning Motorsport car climbing the field at the moment. And like you said, I think so. He's on the 2-stop strategy, so he'll naturally be faster at this stage.
Yeah, I'm just going off their sort of what they're doing with their revs in the car. You know, some of them aren't revving as hard as others, so
It could
I'd
also
say
be a case that some guys are simply more adept at saving the fuel. You know, like, we could be seeing
yeah.
a Killer on the loose who's found a way to extract the pace from the car while saving enough fuel to make that 8-lap stint we talked about.
And like I can't see what their fuel rate's at either. So even though I can see that the rev gauge is going up higher than others, for all I know, they could have their fuel rate set lower.
True, yes, we can't see the fuel map setting that they've got applied, so they might be mapping at the rates and things like that, which could prove useful to some. Killer not really able to pull away at this stage. Looks to me like Boy Begum is just saving the heck out of his field here and just sitting behind Levinspiel and doing a job keeping that car at 7/10, 8/10, and just conserving his fuel so that his stop's going to be as short as possible, and he's going to find himself in a really spot on that second stint. Because if he saves about 15 litres of fuel over the guys around him, he's going to find himself right on the back of Black Project after the pit stop. So he could be pulling a master stroke out here, especially from so far back on the grid after qualifying. Running 3:16.1 on the last lap, which is a wee way off sort of the fastest times. Okay.
Yeah, but like you say, if he's just sitting in that slipstream, you know, he could be short shifting even a little bit more and saving a little bit more fuel.
I wonder here if Squirrel.
Oh, I think he might have gone. Oh no, we're giving him a bit of the old commentator's curse, unfortunately.
Who was that?
Boy Begum just before the bridge.
Yeah, he's lost 4 seconds there. Let's have a look.
I'd say Levenspill's probably taken a little bit of a deep breath after that.
Yeah, that pressure would have been hot. Oh, he's just picked up the curb on the way to the bridge and got the car sideways. Fairly easily recovered. Not quite a drive into the barrier, and of course no damage. So
No,
it could have
the
been
curbs.
worse, but
The curbs here aren't big and bad like was it Dragon Trail, but there is some like very sharp sort of small ones that's easy to catch the wheels on the inside.
yeah, they're kind of raised a little bit, and you just don't quite see them, and then they'll send your car sky high. Now I'm wondering if Squirrel has cottoned on to the strategy changes and changed it up a little bit for himself. Although he's on pace to set the same lap that he set at his best, the 14.8. But he's dropped off the back of revs a little bit, so I wonder if he's dialed it back just to keep things on the straight and narrow.
Yeah. Look, it's going to be interesting just to see.
Oh, there we go.
You
He's
never
in the
know.
pits. There you go.
Oh, he's
Squirrel's
pitted
in.
already.
So he's absolutely on a 2-stop. Carbon Boy and Black Project go through. Levenspiel goes through as well. Boy Begum next to come to the line. Continues on, no surprise. I think we all saw that coming. Killer on the Loose goes for one more. Graham and VF, the Dadson cars, go around again. Petey Pops goes around. Daz will go around again. Burrell will come out with 100% fuel on board in 11th place.
Just going through the fuel, it's surprising how close so many of them are.
I'm gonna bring us over to actually our APR Automotive tyre and fuel update. We're not too worried about tyres right now, but the fuel, I think, is the point of concern, isn't it? So how about you run us through what everyone's sort of looking like in terms of fuel and tyres?
Yeah, I'd say Revs has got pretty much smack on a third of a tank. Carbon Boy, exactly the same. Black Project, exactly the same. Lev, maybe a litre less. There's not much in it. Killer on the Loose has probably got the least. He's getting pretty close down to a quarter, I should say. Boy Begum, he'd be also a third left. Gurr would,
again, hasn't he? He's dropped down behind Killer.
Oh yeah, and he's getting attacked by Gurr at the moment by the look of it. Gurr's all over him. But Gurr is really good on fuel too. He's probably got the best fuel out of everyone. VF's not far behind him. Poppers is really good as well. He's got a third. Daz just under a third. And obviously Squirrel's got nearly a full tank because he just... Oh no.
3 seconds for...
Yeah.
Crossing the pit lane lines.
Yeah, I don't know whether you got that on the way in or the way out.
Hard to say. I wonder if it was on the way in because it looked like he had a tyre over the outside, but...
Yeah, it's pretty hard to get one on the way out here, I think. It's a pretty short sort of exit, but the way in, yeah, I think you'd be right.
Okay, so this battle here then, as that concludes our APR Automotive tyre and fuel update. Graham,
Revs.
our #1 fuel saver right now. I get the feeling that Killer on the loose here, he's kind of half and halving his strategy. The question now is, does he have enough fuel to make the 7th lap? Because if he does, he can still do a 1-stop. But if he doesn't, he's going to have to do a 2-stop. And cut one of his spins short as well, because he's now extended by 1 lap. And if he does go one more, I wonder if we'll see him run out of fuel on the way to the pits as well, because he's obviously quite a bit down.
Yeah, I think he'll be right to 7th, but I don't think he's going to make it to 8th.
Yeah, well, he just has to make 7 this stint, and then he can worry about making 8 second stint.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's good. So we'll see if he pits in this lap.
Try and do a little bit of an undercut. I tell you what, though, Revs has pulled out a bit of a lead.
He has. So he's lost his closest rival in the form of Squirrel, who's dropped down to 11th after his pit stop, but he can now push all out.
He's also
clean track. Oh, he's off there as well.
Revs has also got the fastest lap.
Yeah, he's setting very quick laps now.
The last couple have been in the 14s as that fuel rate drops.
Yeah.
Like your tyres wear as well, but yeah, you get that little bit of an offset as the tyres drop as well. The fuel drops, I should say.
Revs putting on a masterful performance here, and really, I hate to say that Boybigum's been the subject of bad luck, but he's had a couple of instances in this race that have really set him back. I wonder where he'd be if he'd had a better qualifying, because we know what he's capable of. We've seen what he can do, but around here he just doesn't seem to quite have that edge that he's had all season.
No, he's like, don't get us wrong, he's right there in the mix, right in the middle there, but like you say, he has had a couple of little bobbles.
We had that
easy to do
just before the bridge, and that lost about 5 seconds total. Without that incident, he wouldn't be in this pack. Now he's, for want of a better word, stuck behind Killer. You know, if he wanted to overtake, he'd probably find it quite difficult. But I get the feeling he's kind of making the best of a bad situation and bringing him over to this place. Although, here we go now, on the bridge, he's going a nose. Not going for the move. Seems to do much better leading from the front, that Boybigum. I think he's a bit tentative about making overtakes. He likes to do the overtakes in the pit lane, so...
Yeah. I think Killer's using a bit more fuel than him as well, so he's probably a little bit hesitant to try and jump in front if he thinks he's going to get sort of taken back in the next corner.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that Killer's used so much more fuel, because you'd think that most people would be on kind of the right number for this 7 laps, unless they're doing their 8 laps first.
Yeah.
Which I'd be a bit surprised by. I think you kind of want to set yourself on the undercut by default by doing 7 laps, but...
I think the top couple of guys, maybe. I'd be surprised if Revs doesn't do an 8th lap. We're about to find out, because he's coming towards the finish line on...
Yeah, an 8th lap now for Revs wouldn't be a silly idea, because it's sure that he gets his clean air all the way. There you go, he's going around for an 8. The Carbon Boy will be the first to come across the line. But there we go. Oh, Black Project's lost it in the background there too. Got a little bit loose on the grass. Pit in, Black Project, pit in. This is your opportunity. You've just saved yourself a world of hurt by pinning in instead of carrying on down the straight.
Yeah.
That is a massive decision there for Black Project that puts him on the undercut. He's probably only lost about 4 seconds there instead of what might have been 6 or 7.
Hopefully he doesn't. Hopefully he doesn't cop a penalty on the way out either.
No, I think he was okay on the way in, so he should be alright.
Yes. Sorry, that's what I mean. He get it on the, like, he won't see it till he comes out, but hopefully he doesn't get it for his entry. He's got a little bit of damage there. Hopefully that clears.
Well, he's got a bit of time for it to clear. It takes about 30 seconds, and that pit stop was probably close to it. Yeah, he did put it in the wall. No penalty on the way out, so that's good for him. Now he can carry on. Put in his 8 laps. Get going, Black Project, get going.
We haven't said much either about VF, except from the start. He's he's quietly sitting there, just sort of sipping away at his fuel and that as well. And
Yeah, he's run a
he's
very
right in the mix.
consistent race so far, isn't he? Very close to his
Yeah.
Datsun teammate as well. Yeah, not really. He is having a bit of a quiet one, but I get the feeling that he is still in the mix, like you say. So definitely one to watch as the race goes on. One of those guys that drives mistake-free racing, which is something we're not really seeing from anyone this race. So I think almost everyone has made a mistake that we've caught on the broadcast at some point.
And Carbon Boy as well. Like, he's got a good over 8, nearly 9-second lead over Lev, who's in third. And then there's a whole 10 seconds between Lev and Boybegum. So they've really spread out over this large track.
What a stark contrast to qualifying as well. Less than a tenth in qualifying between the top four, and now we're seeing 6, 7, 8-second gaps between these guys as they head round before their first pit stop, naturally. So I wonder if that'll change, or if the race pace is simply that different for these guys. You know, the raw pace was super close, but these guys, their race pace is so different.
Yeah, I don't know, because there's it's going to be interesting, because once they go to this 7th lap, they may still have to fuel save a bit, because I think you can only do 6, but they will be able to put that foot down a little bit more.
Bro, yeah, they're going to be able to use about 8% more fuel overall. Pick it up by 1% a lap. You know, you can rev it out that extra 500 RPM or so. Could make all the difference. Or maybe they keep shifting where they are and reduce their fuel mapping if that's what they're using. You know, there's a lot of ways they could be saving, and it might be a case of just kind of dial it back a little bit. So revs into the pits, flirting with the pit lane lines there, I think, a little bit. So we'll see if that causes them any strife. Carbon Boy will be in as well. So this is the pit window now. So 8 laps in. All of our drivers will come in, with the exception of... what have we got down here? Coming in 1%. Black Project he's already pitted. And we've got Squirrel, who pitted early as well. He was the 2-stopper. And he's actually way down, and he's actually gone off here as well as we jumped on board with him. I think he's had a massive off here somewhere. Hasn't been able to dial in for the sequence of laps back to back to back. And it's come back to hurt him.
VF had 6 litres, Gurr had 8. Sorry to jump in there, but
no, that's good. That's stuff we need to know. No pit lane penalty for Revs, so he jumps out clear. Carbon Boy short fueled by a little bit in order to get within 6 seconds of him, but no real change there. Black Project has maintained 3rd place here, which is huge for him. That'll be really good, actually. He'll be happy with that.
Yeah, that's why you caught me napping a little bit before, because I was trying to think, besides Revs, were any of the top 5 guys sort of in the top 5 for quali?
I think Carbon Boy was.
Yeah, but he was down a little bit though. He was like maybe 5th or 6th or something, was he? I know Lever was behind him.
Let me pull it up. I've actually got the results handy.
Because Black Project has jumped now in front of Lev.
So he was in front of Lev before the pit stops, by a while, but then he had his crash before the lane, which he cleverly saved by pitting in. You know, not missing out on that speed down the straight. So
but he's going to have to fuel for 8 laps though, isn't he?
Yes, so he's going to be on a bit of more of a fuel save than the guys around him. But we don't know if that was his plan initially. He might have been planning to do 8, and he might have committed to 7 because he made that mistake.
Yeah,
so it's possible that he's going to run the same pace as he was before, which was clearly enough to outpace him. So our top 4 after quali was Revs, Squirrel, Daz, and Carbon Boy. So Carbon Boy and Revs are the only 2 from that group that have maintained their spot at the top. Daz is an interesting one. He's dropped down a long way. He had an incident really early on. I think he spun out at the hairpin at the end of the circuit. He's now found himself just in front of Pops as the bad luck appears to continue for him this race.
He's done well though, because he was quite a long way back. He got sort of turned around, was the wrong way, and so it took him a while to get back on track, and then he would have had that bit of damage. So he's actually done well to get up, jump up a place, to be honest.
He could chase down VF from here, assuming he's nailed his strategy, but VF, he's not one of those guys that makes mistakes like we were talking about before, and he's still in position to fight the guys in front. There goes, I think that was Boybegum on Graham. The hairpin goes through. Let's jump on board with Gur and see what this looks like. Big apex miss from Boybegum there, and that's one of those mistakes that make a huge difference to your lap, but it's such a small error because you just brake slightly late and suddenly you're 2 car widths wide of the apex. That loses your 2-3 tenths, which was displayed there by Gur catching right up through that corner. Boybegum onto the straight.
Oh, Squirrel, he's just gone as well.
Squirrel's gone into the fence as well, so that's our 2-stopper gone.
I was just actually looking at him because where he was placed, considering he's done 1 stop and everyone else has done a single stop now, but he would have had another stop to go,
So
I
he's
believe.
due a stop now, but he's not pitted this lap. But presumably, he's got less than 50% fuel left.
Yeah, he does. He's probably down to about 40%.
But he could probably do 2 more laps, but I think he's not going to make it to...
No, and he's got damage.
All over the place as well. He's just driven into the wall again, so his aero's not doing its job, and he's really on the back foot now. Looks like Daz is going to get him here. 2-stop strategy, apparently not the go tonight. Really out of this fight now as well. Billows a pit stop, and these guys are clean and clear. Not gonna take it lying down.
No, the fact that a lot of these guys were sticking with him or, very close to him, and Revs held him off for quite a while, the fact that they are doing, fuel save and sort of running the same pace, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, a lot of these guys have proved that they're doing really well. A lot of metal. But Daz has a good opportunity now, because naturally Squirrel's going to be faster than him. He's going his pace early on in this race, and he's on a push strategy. If Daz can latch on and kind of hold on to the back of him for a little while, he might drag them up to F, who's a little ways up the road. So
Yeah.
Daz just hangs in this slipstream. Could reap the rewards, sure.
And this is sort of comes back to what I was saying with the quali. Like, obviously, Revs qualified first, was out the front, but Squirrel was right up there as well. So that consistency over any outright speed, especially on a track like this. I mean, consistency is such a big thing with these tracks, all these tracks anyway, but I just saying that someone's done such a fast lap doesn't always mean that they're going to be consistent in a race. You've got to have a bit of speed and be consistent. So
right, and you called that earlier as well. You did say that it wasn't going to be, this race wasn't going to come down to who's got the raw pace, who's got the best top speed around the lap, but who can keep it up for 15 laps back to back to back and stay consistent, dial the car back and run that fuel save all the way. And right now, it appears to be Revs for Kung Fu Racing Team.
yeah, you have a look at his times and like the consistency. Like if you go from like a 3:15, 3:15, 3:15, and he's done a couple of 14s back to 3:15. It's that consistency that's going to put you out the front like he currently is.
Not particularly mistake prone, and he's You know, he's back where he likes to be, as we saw him so many times last season, out the front, leading by a considerable margin. Revs is a very, very competent motorcar driver, and you know he's going to make a claim for the top spot in Division 3 after this race.
Yeah, definitely.
Dropping points.
Well, Revs actually he did really well at the last track, Interlagos. He just had a bit of an incident with someone, which I think put him on the back foot, and he came home strong. So maybe he's sort of making up a little bit for his last race, I'm guessing.
I think he had a bit of a rough time at Red Bull Ring as well because of the wet weather.
Yeah.
He ended up, finding himself way down the back. So to be in 4th in the championship right now is no mean feat, and clearly he's looking to make a serious comeback, and he's impressing in a lot of ways. The purple number on the purple car with a purple lap, it's purple everything for Revs Law today. He brought the right theme to the track, and he's putting it to work.
Just looking at Carbon Boy as well, he while he might be a little bit way down the track than Revs, his consistency too is very good. I could say the same with Lev as well. Even going back to Boybigum, he's had a couple of like small mistakes, and this track bites hard, like really hard. It's a long track. It's so easy to lose half a second, even a second on this track. Like a couple of mistakes on a corner, and bang, you're down a good half to a second.
Yeah, and we saw that demonstrated as well with that fake from it was on the last lap. I think it was Boybigum wide of an apex by braking just marginally too late with so much time. Over a long lap like this, it makes all the difference. You were talking about Levenspiel before, and I tend to agree. And he's had a really quiet race, but it's been consistent and mistake-free, and that is why he's in 3rd place right now, because he's just taken advantage of the mistakes of others, and every time someone's made a mistake, he's been elevated one more spot, and now he's in 3rd place after not what I'd call a below-average performance, but it's not outstanding by any means, but it's what needed to get the job done, and that's exactly what you were talking about. So big props to Levenspiel for coming back from, partway down the grid as well. He's not elevated himself an extreme number of positions, but it's what you need. You can't expect to go to 1st place from 7th, but to be 3rd place is a great turnaround.
Well, considering he's, I believe he's 2nd in the championship as well.
Yeah.
So to have those points, put yourself up on the podium. He's
outscoring his title rival, isn't he? So it's a good result no matter what way you look at it.
Yeah, yep. Those few
but
extra
we're not
points.
done yet. I say that like we're finished.
No,
we're not.
No.
Anything can happen. Someone could run out of fuel.
Yeah. But look, the top 3 guys, even though there is a bit of space between them all, they're all in good positions. They've all got a bit of, all pretty much close to 10 seconds between the top 3 guys, sort of spaced out. So they've got their own clean air. They're doing their own thing. They haven't got anyone behind them harassing them. They're not on someone else, someone else's tail where they're getting sort of held up. So I reckon they'd be pretty happy where they're sitting right now.
Most definitely. Just having a look at Squirrel, who's come in for a 2nd stop, end of lap 11, so he's done a 6-lap stint in the middle. Now, a wee way off Petey Pops. He might be able to salvage a position or 2 if he can nail this last stint, but he's going to have to push really hard for 4 laps and absolutely nail the pace, and I think that's going to be a hard ask. So, the main battle's on track right now.
Oh, we've got a yellow flag.
BF's gone around somewhere. I don't know where. But I kind of noticed something fishy going on when I was on board with Black Project. Or it might have been Killer on the Loose. And it said that he was 1/10 behind him and I couldn't see him on the track. So, they're saying something's gone wrong. So it was... Who was it? BF.
And here we go. And here we go. Daz, who got... so unlucky on that opening lap, all the way to the back. he's now popped himself up into 8th. It just
Place
goes to show you.
not far from Black Project either.
Nope, not at all. And it just goes to show you, like, don't give up. You never know where you're going to be.
Yeah, it was only a couple of laps ago he was right with Petey Pops, and now he's got about a 5-second gap to him. So
Yeah,
that's a big turnaround, because he was fighting with him before. They traded positions a few times, and now Daz is, yeah, like you say, 8th place, very much in the fight right now. I want to have a look here at what happened to, I think it was VF. Have a look, and we'll use a correct replay animation this time, because I haven't used that yet tonight. There we go with VF, and just straight onto the gravel on the outside, and he's lit up the rears on the way back onto the track, driven into the wall, damage to the front, lost it, drops behind the Kraken Esports car and the Deeds car. Very, very unfortunate.
it's such a track, like, you've only got to have a look at certain parts of the track and you can see the wall or the fence, the armco, whatever you want to call it, and there'll be that slight little strip of grass right on the edge of it. And same with these corners, like, you can come around a corner and it's so easy just to touch that little bit of grass at the wrong spot, and this car just does not like that grass at all.
Yeah, it was the transfer of from gravel back to the road, you know, where suddenly your traction is completely different right to left, and that rear differential just does not know what to do with that information, and just sends you sideways. So yeah, an easy thing to do on re-entry. It was a simple mistake that put him off the track onto the gravel. Just ran a little bit wide on exit, 4 wheels into the dirt, but the recovery was just not quite done how he needed to do it. So unfortunately, that sees VF down in P9 after a pretty solid performance all round.
Yeah, he was doing well.
Was doing well, but he's not out of the top 10, and he's still in with an opportunity here. Daz is not too far up the road.
No, I'll tell you another one who's sitting quietly there too is Gurr. Popping along in 5th place, looking good. Tyres looking good, got plenty of fuel.
Yeah, he's another one that's kind of been quiet all race, but no mistakes has helped him elevate himself to where he is now. Good place
another
to be.
one too. Another one too. If you go and have a look at his times, he's quite consistent.
True, yes. Those 16s and 17s, nothing too far out the way.
Very smooth. If you watch him do a few laps, he's very smooth in the car.
That takes. Still on the loose. Still going to roll around in 6th. Lightning Motorsport car, we were a bit iffy about him making that first stint the 7 laps, but he did. And he put himself on an 8-lap stint second half of the race. Now I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, does he have the fuel capacity to make it 8 laps? So what do we say we go for another tyre and fuel update at this stage? Snake Eyes, what do you reckon?
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, so we've got revs just under a third. Tyres looking pretty good as you'd expect. Carbon Boy, his fuel would be just a little bit less than revs, but there's not much in it. Lev, he's probably used a little bit more than Carbon Boy again. Boy becomes used even more. So these guys are trying to push just that little bit harder. Boy becomes only got just over a quarter of a tank, but with only like 2.5 laps to go, should be alright. Gurr, he's close to a third. Killer just on a quarter. Dead on a quarter. He's got a little bit of damage too, so I'm not sure what's happened with Killer. He's got a bit of front end damage.
Just out by the look of things, so that's going to bring him into the clutches of Black Project, shortly.
Yeah. Black Project, he is a bit over a third. Daz, he's got actually just over a third of a tank, I would say. So he's looking in a good spot if he wants to put that foot down and try and catch Black Project.
Push here. His lap times look good too. 3:16.4
Yeah.
last lap. You know, that's right up there with the best of them here.
Yeah. What'll be like VF around a third of a tank, Poppers a third of a tank, and Squirrel, who's the only two-stopper, he's on a third of a tank.
But they've all equaled out now. Looks like more or less everyone's going to make it. The only question marks would be Boybegum. No, sorry. Was Graham a bit lower than Boybegum, wasn't he, on fuel?
No, Graham's got a bit more fuel than Boybegum.
So Killer was about a quarter tank.
Yeah, he's well under a quarter of a tank now. So
him and Boybegum, they should make it, but they might be borderline. By the sound of things.
I'd say Black Project might have a little bit of a crack at Killer if he can get a little bit closer.
Definitely be a good idea. He's got plenty of time to do it though. Lap 14 and 15. If he can put the pressure on, he might cause Killer to overdo it on his fuel. Well, so
yeah,
definitely in a good spot here. Driver's seat. Say that.
Revs out to well over 12 seconds now.
Oh, here we go. Black Project on Killer on the loose. The outside for Black Project, the Kraken Esports car will be on the inferior line through the left-hander. He's got his nose in front, and he'll sweep across. No chance for Killer on the loose, and goes through. Black Project does.
He's got a little bit of a gap already too.
As a response on the back straight. Good exit from Killer. Very good exit. He's got a good run. Daz is coming with them here too, so this could be 6th for Daz if he plays his cards right.
He's got a run too.
As he's catching right up to Killer, and that's that fuel advantage that he's got that we were talking about.
Yep.
Down the inside for Daz. Go through. I think that was good.
Killer.
Killer was trying to force the issue, but not quite able to. Really should have defended a bit earlier, I think. And Daz now with an opportunity, and I think that was really down to the fuel difference. Killer was forced to be a bit more conservative with his fuel on the straight. He goes to the inside of Daz.
Ooh. Looks getting a little bit loose there, Killer, by the look of it.
Going to put these guys well off Black Project, and that's going to be a breath of fresh air for Black Project. He'll be relieved to see those guys dropping off the back there.
Yeah, he's going to be like, fight, boys, fight.
Definitely. In position. But I get the feeling Daz is going to give it another crack at some point. With that fuel advantage, he's really pushing the pace down the straight, and Killer cannot afford to do that. So Daz is definitely looking how close he gets there. Let's have a look on board from Daz. Head down the straight. What's Killer going to do? Nothing can be done. Here we go. Daz to the inside of the hairpin. Should be easy pickings here. Hard on the brakes. Parks it on the apex. Well executed there from the Deeds car. Might be one of the first times that Deeds have managed to play their fuel numbers correctly and give themselves an advantage in the fuel department. Season 8, a year of new beginnings for Deeds Racing.
Oh, Revs, he's nearly out to 14 seconds, but he's pulled a 3-minute 13.195.
Oh, wow. What?
He's absolutely cracked that second last lap, lap 14. He has absolutely cracked a stinking time.
It was ridiculous. I didn't even know that was possible for these guys. 3:14 in qualifying, and now he's nearly a second clear of that. Absolutely insane. So decided to mark a stamp of authority, mark of authority, or you know, one of those things.
He hasn't had a good start to the season, but I tell you what, he's making a strong comeback mid-season, that's for sure.
Most definitely. It's a really good performance from Revs, and showing flashes of his former self that we saw in Division 4. Great to see. It's going to be a not a grand slam per se, but he's going to take the trifecta with pole position, first place, and the fastest lap. It's going to be an avalanche of points for Kung Fu Racing Team. Crazy Good Kung Fu will be delighted with his driver here. Made the switch from Hooncorp Esports to Kung Fu Racing Team. And this will be his first victory in Division 3. Revs comes across the line to take victory in round 5 of Season 8 Division 3 with the fastest lap after attaining pole position. It's a fantastic performance in the new colours for Kung Fu Racing Team. Very, very well done. Carbon Boy, delighted as well with his race. Second for the APR Automotive Team. A consolation reward for the disconnect of Adam Pruitt. Levenspiel in third place. For Red Mist Racing, a solid performance as we discussed before. The championship leader, Boybegum, comes across the line in fourth place to hold on to his championship hopes with a relatively decent score of points, all things considered, especially starting so far down the grid. Gurra will come across the line in P5, a great performance for Dadson. Black Project in P6. He's disappointed to have fallen so far back. Dad's in P7, a great fight back from the Deeds car. Killer on the Loose has run out of fuel. Will he be caught by VF? VF is chasing him down towards the line. I think he might just get him. VF will clear him to the line. Petey Pops as well.
Pops.
Killer is P10 in the end.
You wouldn't read about it.
Oh, we thought that he might be touch and go, but he ran out very early there. A huge change in position for those guys further down, and Squirrel will come home a dejected 11th place after trying to make the two-stop work and a couple of crashes, putting pain to his efforts. Unfortunately for him, not able to make it happen. There we go. Great victory for Revs. What a drive from the Division 4 champion of yester season. Unbelievable performance from him. I want to say unbelievable, but in reality, this is Rebs we're talking about. We do know that he's capable of a lot of good things.
Yeah, for sure. That was that's a pretty outstanding though, especially on this track. It's a big track. It's a long track. It's a technical track. It's a slippery track. What can I say? You either love it or hate this track, and I think that's a bit of a. Yeah, it is. And he's won by quite a big margin. But you've got to sort of look at it and say Carbon Boy and Lev did a great job. Boybegum hung in there. A lot of drivers did really well tonight.
Yeah, it was performances black and white for these guys. Some great, some poor, some in the middle. That ended up with great results. So, your podium, Revs, Carbon Boy, and Levenspiel. Break out the champagne, boys. That was an awesome, awesome race from you guys. Boybegum in P4. Gurra in P5 with a great result for Dadson. Black Project in 6th. He would probably be disappointed not to have been in 5th after his incident later on in the race, but I get the feeling that a lot of people will feel much the same way about their own performances. Daz in 7th. He'll be ruining that early spin. VF in P8, much the same, but he got the better of Killer on the Loose in the late stages. In fact, Squirrel got the better of Killer on the Loose as well. How did that happen? No, sorry, I think that's just an error in timing sheet. Killer on the Loose was 10th, Squirrel 11th. So, performers of tonight, driver of the day. I don't know. I'll put it to the chat for a start. But what do you guys think? Yeah, Snake Eyes, let us know.
Sorry, I've got to give it to Daz.
Daz for that one? For a comeback?
Yeah, he got, I can't remember whether he got spun round or did it himself, but, either way, to be that far back and to hold on and drive, it's not an easy thing to do, to put that out of your head and just put your head down, arse up sort of as we go and get going, So I think he's done a terrific job to come back from that right up to 7th. He's done really well.
as a good performance. We didn't clarify if it was contact spin or if it was his own fault. If it was caused by contact from someone else, I think I'd tend to agree with you. But if not, I'd be looking at someone like Carbon Boy, I think, for that one. That was an awesome drive for him.
Yeah, he's done extremely well. Yeah, the chat seems to be heading towards Carbon Boy as well.
He's got a bit of support down there for sure. Revs, I could say, the same, but I'm really not keen on giving the driver of the day to the winner. But he's had an awesome performance as well. No one can take that away from him. However, the only driver to be within a second of his fastest lap was Squirrel, and actually not even within a second. He was within 2 seconds. No. Everyone else, he did 3:15 fastest laps.
He did a 2-stop as well, so his potential to actually do the fastest lap should have been right up there as well, because he could have taken less fuel at some stage.
Well, yeah, he would have been able to do push, because if you're on that 1-stop, you have to fuel save more or less the entire race.
So, and you get 1 set of tyres.
Yeah, if you can afford to push, you got that little bit of extra pace in you. So, missed opportunity for Squirrel, unfortunately, but Revs takes the win and the fastest lap. A great result, and it looks like the unanimous decision of Carbon Boy as driver of the day. So thank you all for your votes. If you are sticking around, stick around for Division 1 coming up next. We'll go to a quick intermission. First, make sure, if you haven't yet, leave a like on the broadcast. Really helps us out with the algorithm, gets us pushed out to many, many more racing fans around the world, which is what we want. Subscribe if you're new. More content from us. Hit the notification bell, and you'll be notified every time we go live for more races like this. We'll go to an intermission now, but we will be back shortly for Division 1 action, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back, Sector 1 sim racing fans from Australia, New Zealand, and around the world. We are back for our feature race of the evening. It is the top end of Group A, Division 1 here in Sector 1 sim racing. The big guns are out in force. We have a full complement of drivers tonight, 14 on the grid, with one fill-in from a lower division as a replacement driver, as we had in the previous race. But we're just about set and ready to go. So I'm very excited for this one. I'm expecting some big things from these guys. They've now had a bit of a look in at the strategy from race number 1 this evening. So a reminder for you, if you weren't here for it, here is our breakdown of the strategy as it sits right now. So the medium tyre is the only tyre available. The 1-stop and the 2-stop are the strategies of choice. And it looks like the 1-stop was the way to go in the first race. We'll see if the Div 1 boys can show us the alternative. See if they can make it work. We'll see if a non-fuel save can be done. I am joined for Division 1 by our very own BlackFriday. Please say hello, mate.
Hello, how are we?
Good, we're good, we're excited, we're hyped, we're ready to go. Tell me, what have you seen from Division 1 so far this evening in practice?
I've seen a couple of things. I've seen a 311 pop up a couple of times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so mostly they're in the 12s. I'm not sure if there was slipstream on those, but you know, all the usual suspects. You got GTR, Geesh, Goat, Speedy Snoopy, Lenosis, Wakey. They're all kind of in the hunt, so it's just a matter of where you qualify and what strategy you're going to run.
That is exciting to hear. So here's a quick look at our championship standings as they sit. We thought we might see a bit of a change last time out after Division 1 at Dragon Trail Seaside in the sprint round, but a last-minute penalty application dropped Wakey behind Geesh in the late stages. So Geesh leads the way for Respawn Esports ahead of Wakey, Young Wakey of Kraken Esports, and then Speedy Snoopy of Red Mist in P3, Diswood in P4, Mountain Goat in P5, Morgan Davey P6, Lenosis 7th, Noodles in 8th, who is absent this evening, Bath in P9, Ricky Bobby P10, Turtle Power in 11th, Captain Muffin in P12, John in P13, and GDR in 14th after being absent from 3 rounds so far. So he is back tonight, and he is ready to make an impact, I'm sure. So these guys will be raring to go, I'm absolutely certain. So what do you say we get qualifying underway?
Yeah, I've just had to push the button a few times. It got stuck, but it's on. Here we go, a few seconds to qualifying starts.
We love to see it. And none of these guys having network issues with each other or any issues like that?
No, everything seems good. I've asked anyone to let me know if there's any issues. No one said anything. It doesn't look like anyone's on the track either, so should be pretty smooth from everyone tonight.
Alright, love to hear it. So here is our pit lane paddock. Gazebo's all up and away, ready to go. Here's Young Wakey out on track. Have a look at what's going on up the front. Like a couple of guys doing some weaving down the straight up there. Getting the tyres nice and warm. So 15 minutes for our drivers here today. Keep an eye on that timer down the bottom left. Once that ticks over 15 minutes, we are done for the session. Drivers head round. John's still in the pits, but that's alright. He's got plenty of time, I think. So, have a look at our drivers for today. So, Diswood leads the way. Brocky 05 Sim Racing represented. Front end of the field. This guy loves a Group 2 car. So, he's fairly comfortable in this one. A controller driver as well. Proving that you can do it on the most basic of equipment. Geesh P2, second on track, not P2 yet, in the Respawn Esports livery, Old West style livery from the F1 days of McLaren. Turtle Power for Dadson Racing. sitting with these guys at the moment. Like Faff. That drove into the wall there. Driving for ISA Esports. Prima GDR in 5th. GDR for Hooncorp Esports there. He's been absent for most of the season so far. But he's back. The first time since round number 1. You're looking to make a statement. Let these guys remember who he is. A 3-time champion at Sector 1 Sim Racing. Not someone to be messed with. Ricky Bobby for APR Motorsport. Seen twice already tonight. Speedy Snoopy in 7th for Red Mist. Came into Division 1 after round number 1, after dominating Division 2. Gave these guys something to talk about. Now he sits 3rd in the championship after a couple of good performances. Be looking to improve on that tonight by taking the fight to the top guys of Division 1. One of those being young Wakey, currently 2nd in the championship. A huge step up for the youngster. Wakegate is on form. There were predictions some time ago from a certain someone of when this young man would win his first championship, and it could be around the corner. P9, looking at P9, we've got our Captain Muffin, who's now bumped up to 8th, but young Wakey's dropped behind him. Interesting for these guys. We are subject to the bug of Saint Croix, why we've extended our qualifying session. So the first flying lap is not a flying lap, in fact. There's not a timed lap. The Captain Muffin for CP Motorsports, one of the mainstays of the series. Morgan Davey, teammate of Daz from Division 3 for Deeds Racing. Sporting a red and silver livery, which I think might be the first time we've seen it. Goes Muffin into the grass. Not to worry, Muffin, this lap doesn't count anyway. Lenosis P11 for APR Automotive, so all 4 APR Automotive cars in use tonight. Grass. Bit of contact from Morgan Davey, and around he goes. Don't worry, Lenosis, this lap does not count. Mountain Goat for Brocchio 5 Sim Racing, so the second of the Brocchio 5 cars for Boxer Beauty there. He'll be looking for his own little bit of real estate on this track. Trying to put in his own lap. Not looking for a slipstream from anyone, just doing his thing. Madrick, our stand-in driver for Respawn Esports, replacing Noodles, who was absent tonight. Just filling in for team points. For a handful here or there to keep the championship hopes alive for the team. John, 27 TCT for Lightning Motorsport. Way back, has really found his own section of track here to work with. Lightning Motorsport machine. Looks beautiful. The black, green and white. Love to see. Just warming up at this stage. Get around and he'll have a nice clear track. Comes around to start his first official flyer. Despite the fact that this lap should be a flyer. He'll be happy with his current position, right?
Just looking up the front, you've got Turtle right on the back of Woody. It's like he wants to be ready. He wants to get every single tenth he can in that slipstream.
This is it too. They're about to start their first official flyer. I would question whether some of these guys might look to head in. Put some fresh tyres on. Maybe not. Not if that bug is going to affect them again. Here we go. They have set times. They have counted. There we go. No splits coming up. GDR goes to pole early. Turtle Power managed to hold P3 after all that. Geesh to P2.
We've got Goat in the pits taking on a fresh set of tyres, so we won't see a time from him for a little bit. But the fresh rubber, yeah, makes it interesting, doesn't it?
But he's got time to get around to do at least one flyer. John, the only driver, still on their first flyer. Now, who did we see spin out? We saw, I think, Lenosis spin and Captain Muffin. So that's why they're 11th and 12th. 7 seconds off the back of Madrick, who is 4 seconds off the back of Morgan Davies. So these guys are about 11 seconds off the pace down here at 11th and 12th. But without setting clean laps. Go around, get that done. Here comes John into the final sector. His first representative time. The final sequence of corners. Left and the right. Up to the straight. Comes to the line. Good enough for 6th. There's the 3:13.8. The GDR currently provisional pole. 3:11.7, and that's what you said, isn't it? 3:11 was going to take pole.
Yeah, there were a couple of 3:11s I seen, so you know, Geesh isn't that far away from a 3:11. And he's currently running 9/10 purple at the moment, so we'll see what he can do.
Guys are not messing around. Look at GDR's current position. He's got a bit of clear road to the guys in front, but they could hinder him if they fight, which they appear to be doing. It looks like that is Geesh in front of him as well. On Woody, presumably. Looks like Geesh has slowed himself down a bit. GDR himself is 8/10 purple. What these guys can do. It looks like GDR is very strong through this last section. And he's going to pick up a slipstream on the main straight from man in front of him. Great exit. Great slip down the straight. This wood goes into the pits. Strange decision. A 3:10 from Geesh and a 3:10 from GDR. There's 0.041 between them. That is absolutely ridiculous from these two. Young Wakey goes 3:11 and it's only good enough for 3rd. Wow.
We've just had Woody in the pits for fresh rubber as well.
Dropping down the order as well. His time clearly not good enough to hold on to where he was. But Morgan Davey on his next lap. Venosis has set a representative time now, as has Captain Muffin. They're 5th and 6th respectively. Turtle Power still 4th. And drop behind Wakey. Wakey's got to find just over a second as the ISA car spins out there. Doesn't look like he's going to be quite on for it.
Alright, we've just had Mountain Goat start his first flying lap since those first couple of laps and taking the rubber, so this will be his first timed lap coming up.
This is not a bad position for Mountain Goat to be in, because right now he can see what he's up against in terms of time. 3:10.7 is what he needs to beat for pole position, and he also will know that a 3:10 anything is good enough for the top 3. Right now anyway, provisionally. Because young Wakey, I get the feeling, has a bit more in his locker.
As you said, Mountain Goat in a good position. He's got just under half a tank of fuel and very, very fresh rubber compared to everybody else. So if anyone's going to get into those 310s, could be him.
It was a bit of a risky strategy going for that extra stop, or going for a stop at all, but it might pay off for him. Just having a look at young Wakey, heads into the hairpin. It was blue on the straight, but only by 0.067. So that last lap that he did needed to have some sort of mistake in this last sector that he can correct this lap if he wants to find that second down. Otherwise, he needs to be faster over every part of this lap. Have one more bite of the cherry, as will the drivers in front. Beast across the line. Will he improve? No. GDR does not improve either. Turtle power improves, but not by enough to improve his position. Young Wakey across the line with a 311. Minor improvement. Ricky Bobby to 7th. Young Wakey needs to put it all on the line this lap. 313 for Morgan. He needs to find 3 seconds if he wants
Muffin
pole.
shoots up the third.
Muffin in third. A second away from the leaders. 311.8. Right now a 311 is good enough for the top 5 and a 310 for top 2. Goat with a 313. That is not enough for the youngster, and he's behind Madrick as well. Gonna need to get by. That's a Division 4 driver that he's behind in this session. Up by 2/10. Going to be compromised into this corner. Not able to take the correct racing line, but he gets through. Now he's got the rest of the lap to find the remaining time. Next person across the line will be John, the Lightning Motorsport. He's currently got a 13.8 on the board. Half a second will see him shoot up about 5 places. Through the final sequence of corners. Onto the line. Looks like it'll be a 312. Maybe not. 313, but he goes to 8th. Knocking on the door of Morgan Davey there as well.
We've just had Woody pick up some damage after he pitted last lap for fresh softs, so he's not going to be able to take advantage of that pit stop at all.
Ajish is down by 2.5 seconds this lap, so his lap is done. He cannot improve. GTR, on the other hand, it's unclear as to whether he's on for a good lap here, but he has one chance now, one opportunity to unseat Jish on that pole position. This is it. Into the final sector they go. GTR with Jish right on his rear bumper. And he's a second down. It's not going to happen. So they will remain in the high 310s for now. Captain Muffin currently third. Young Wakey is the one to watch right now. Glenosis loose in the background as well. That'll be his lap run and done, and he'll be disappointed by that because he's a bit further down than he'd probably like to be. Here goes young Wakey to the line. Doesn't look like it's going to set the world on fire, but it might be an improvement. It is, and it's enough to unseat Captain Muffin and go to third place. Here comes Muffin. Does he have an answer? For the line for Muffin. It's no improvement. He will stay in fourth at best. Speedy Snoopy goes through. He's 6th. Mountain Goat Last chance. He needs a better lap. 3:11, 3:12. It's going to be 5th for Mountain Goat. That'll be disappointing for the kid. Morgan Davey to the line. It's not going to be an improvement. He's had a spin on this lap. John yet to come. Long way to go here.
Bit of a mid-pack shake-up there the last lap. Everyone throwing in their best times. Shaking up the grid from 3rd place down to 8th.
And a few changes. John is 2/10 blue on his own time. This could be good enough for 5th. He'll know it. Gotta hit the last sequence of corners right. Pushing the limits. This is good from John. It's a good run. Through the last corner. All the way to the exit curb. To the line he will go. It's going to be a 3:12. But the 3:12 what? And the timer runs out. John left it too late. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Unfortunately, that's the GT7 setting, only allowing 3 minutes on top of the last lap for qualifying.
Yep.
It'd be nice if you could add it so plus 1 lap after qualifying. Everyone gets to finish their lap, but no, 3 minutes is all they'll let you have.
That is heartbreak for John. He'll be so disappointed by that because he was up. He was probably on for P5, P6 with that one, but you know, nothing that he could do. Here are our qualifying results on screen for you now. Jish will be pole position ahead of Prima GTR for Herncor. Young Wakey in 3rd for Kraken Esports and Captain Muffin in 4th. A great qualifying from Muffin. Mountain Goat in 5th. Will be a little bit disappointed by that. And Turtle Power in 6th. Speedy Snoopy in 7th. And Morgan Davey in 8th. John 27 TCT in 9th. Lenosis in 10th. Ricky Bobby in 11th. Faff in 12th. Diswood in 13th. And Madrick, our Division 4 fill-in, in 14th. Now, the big talking point for qualifying has got to be John. 3 minutes on the clock is the final period of time after the timer runs out for you to complete your lap. And with the lap being 3 minutes 15, clearly he timed it well, but he timed it too well. And that caused him to not be able to set that final lap time, which would be very, very disappointing. It would have elevated him up a little bit, most likely. It's unclear quite how much. Possibly only to 8th, possibly a little bit higher. 7th might have been on the cards as well. But there's not a lot he can do about it now. And there's nothing we can do about it for him. So that will be our starting grid for the race. We'll give our drivers a minute to ready themselves. And if you're not ready, make sure you've got your chair reclined. Get your snacks handy. Got a drink ready because you're going to want to see this one. What are your thoughts going into the race, Black Friday?
Well, I think if anyone can pull off a 2-stop strategy, it's got to be from the front. You got to drive away from people. You got to get that gap and that margin building up. Geesh and GTR could probably do it, looking at the times compared to everyone else on quali. But it's quite easy to make mistakes at this track, so that grid could be shaken up by the end of lap 1 already. I'm predicting that Woody will, starting 13th, he's not going to be too happy about that, but I'm predicting he'll bump himself up into the top, probably top 8, if he plays his cards right.
Yeah, well, hopefully not literally bump his way up there, but
No.
I think you're right. I think he's definitely got a bit of fight back in him. Does like the Group 2 cars, so he should be pretty good for it. But we'll see what he can do. Let's hope the guys make it through the first sequence of corners nice and cleanly. And yeah, like you say, that strategy could be interesting. And the big call on the strategy as well. Prima GDR, one to watch. He is not the sort of guy that likes to drive conservative. He does not like to fuel save. He does not like to tyre save. He prefers to go flat out at all times. So if anyone's going to try a two-stop, he's going to be one of the ones that'll be doing it. So keep an eye out for that. See if he working something like that into his race. But I think might be us ready to rock for Division 1. Black Friday.
Yep, the countdown time has started. Everyone's getting ready on the grid to start. We'll be kicking off in a few seconds.
Alright, ready to rock and roll. Division 1, the top flight here at Sector 1, the cream of the crop, are going to the grid. Jeesh, your championship leader, will lead them away from pole position. Here we are on the grid at Croix. The lights are up. The lights are on. 5 lights on the board. And we are away racing. Here we go. Green lights for all drivers. There's a clean getaway. Looks like a good getaway for GDR there. So we'll see what he can do on the way up to the first sequence of corners. He's going to have the inside line here. Looks like Captain Muffin having a sniff as well. Will they drive into the wall? No, not anything happening at this stage. Looks like GDR has got the better of Jeesh around the outside there, and through into the lead goes GDR for Hooncorp. That's a huge change in the race in this stage. Captain Muffin has dropped down to 5th as well. The benefit of Mountain Goat. GDR holding the inside here. Manages to hold on to it, and there's contact in the background. I don't know who it was. I have to have a look at that in a little bit. Speedy Snoopy got the better of Muffin there. Looked like it might have been Lenosis that was turned around. Looked like an APR automotive car. Speedy Snoopy up to 5th.
I dare say that was Ricky Bobby. He's 4 seconds off the back of Turtle in last place.
Right, we'll have a look at what happened there in just a moment, once everything settles down out the front. Guys, ringing the neck of this car right now. Top 3 pulling away a little bit. Slight gap there between Young Wakey and Mountain Goat.
And we've already got Woody up to 9th, and he's all over the back of John at the moment. About
John
to come
Woody,
up to the bridge.
Very close friends outside of Sector 1 as well. So they'll probably be in each other's ear in a party chat right now, giving each other a bit of stick. I'm going to get you, I'm going to get you. Something to that effect. See what Woody can do. Nothing into the left-hander. Gnosis up to P11. Little power dropping back. Ricky Bobby in 13th as said before. Now let's have a look at what Jeesh can do. Looks like Young Wakey on the back of him here down the back straight. Is Jeesh going to go for the move? He is. To the inside. Young Wakey's going to try it. They're going to be 3 wide into the hairpin. Jeesh goes through on GDR before they enter the braking zone to the outside of Young Wakey. He should get the exit here, but it could be close. Young Wakey's going to have to fight GDR for that position, and he drops down to 3rd. This is a battle for the ages up the front here. All in the dirt as they come through. This is next level stuff. They're ringing the neck of this car, absolutely pushing it to its limit. And that's brought Mountain Goat back into the fight as well.
We also just had Speedy Snoopy lose 2 spots down that back straight. Bit of fuel conservation, I believe. He just lost a spot to Morgan Davey and Captain Muffin. And then that's brought Woody to about a second behind Speedy Snoopy now. So Woody up to 8th also.
Woody's still going. It was a good call in the beginning. It looks like it's on for the lead again. DDR backs out of it though. Into turn 2 they go. Jeesh manages to hold on to it for now. Huge train of cars out the front here. Speedy Snoopy at the rear of it, but still in touch. At 9/10 behind. Got a big fuel save here. Constantineering up quite a lot. Morgan Davey there going for a switchback. on Captain Muffin. That's a great move. Deesh managing to hold on to the lead from GDR. A front row seat to the action here on board with Speedy Snoopy, who's watching it all unfold. There's young Wakey going for a move on Jeesh or GDR. GDR takes the lead from Jeesh. And it looks like a couple of those drivers on the back foot up there. Wakey and GDR going at it. Wakey and Jeesh, rather. Wakey goes through into second. Great racing from these guys.
So all this fighting with the top 3-4 cars has now turned into the top 8 being within basically 2 seconds from the leader to 8th place now. So it's got all on at the moment, I guess.
It's a huge train of cars right now, this battle. But it seems to be a war between the top 3. They're the ones that are really fighting for it. They're chopping and changing all the time. Morgan Davey on the Brocchio 5 sim racing car, Mountain Goat, yields the position to the Deeds car. Now Morgan Davey's one of those guys who he's always had a bit of a struggle in qualifying to lay down a good lap, but when it comes to race time, he's a super performer. And he's proving that yet again with his performance right now. Just down behind Jeesh. By much.
Morgan's also one of those racers that can overtake you from anywhere on the track. You've always got to be cautious with him.
Morgan's not afraid to send a move whatsoever, but converse to that, he also, much like GDR, has no interest in saving fuel and no interest in conserving tyres. He thrives in low grip situations and he loves to push the car, so he might be on a 2-stop.
We also have Wakey to the lead now.
Wakey has taken the lead from GDR at the hairpin of the back straight. It's chopping and changing as quick as we can follow. These cars still together. But young Wakey's pushing really hard. Beach might have a crack at GDR here as well. See what he does. A nice little toe there from young Wakey as well. Manages to steal the position. Go through. And a nice run on young Wakey on the back straight here. Great exit from Jeesh. Look at that delta coming down. Young Wakey's going to have a rear mirror full of him. Jeesh not too worried about holding that slipstream. Very deep on the brakes though. Might be a mistake. GDR doesn't go through. GDR's gone around. GDR has lost the position. It looks like he might have gotten a fight with Morgan Davey. And he has been sent way down the order. Morgan Davey gets loose on the curve on the exit as well. That might drop him off Jeesh. And he cedes the position to Captain Muffin. Young Wakey's gone off the track. Young Wakey's gone off the track. What is going on? It looks like it might be a disconnect for young Wakey. He's gone. Yep. Oh my goodness. The amount of things that just happened in that sequence of events. Crash from GDR. Young Wakey disconnecting. Morgan Davey nearly spinning. Jeesh finds himself in the lead of the race with Captain Muffin and Morgan Davey for comfort. That was unbelievable scenes.
There was just so much that just happened in that first 2 sectors there.
Here's a replay of GDR in the background. Very deep from Jeesh. And it looks like he just lit it up on the exit. Under power. But in the fence. Unfortunate. GDR. Not an error we're used to seeing from him. Captain Muffin's taken the lead of the race. We've missed that during the replay period. Down the end of that straight, it looks like Muffin has taken the lead.
Yeah, you just got to run in the slipstream down that back straight and just sent it into the hairpin. Nothing Jeesh could really do, but I wouldn't be too worried if I was Jeesh.
I think he's in a pretty good position, although Jeesh runs wide into the grass and into the wall. Morgan Davey is right there as well to pile on the pressure. Captain Muffin's getting away here. Unbelievable. Could Captain Muffin become a race winner in Division 1 Season 8?
Muffin also just set the fastest time of the race so far. I mean, we're only on the 4th lap, but he's done a 3:12.222.
So now, with the changes we've seen, as Jeesh goes for a move on Morgan Davey, thinks better of it. Captain Muffin leads the way, ahead of Morgan Davey and Jeesh. Mountain Goat in 4th, ahead of Diswood, who's made his way up to 5. Unbelievable from Diswood. Speedy Snoopy for Red Mist in 6th, has a 3-second gap to Lenosis in 7th. John in 8th. Hurdle Power in 9th. Follows on these guys. GDR in 10th. Now he's got a fight back on his hands. I get the feeling that GDR could make his way back as far as 5th, but it's going to be difficult for him, most definitely. In P11, Bath for ISA Esports. Ricky Bobby in P12 for APR Automotive. Madrick, our fill-in driver, just hovering in 13th at the moment. In fact, that disconnect promotes him up to 13th, which is extra points. Huge benefit for him. A couple more of those and he'll be laughing.
I'm just having a look through the field at everyone's fuel, and Jeesh is doing a bit better than the two guys in front.
Interesting. That might suggest to me that we may see a 8-lap first stint for Jeesh, while the others do 7. Got more action back here. Speedy Snoopy down the inside of Diswood. Relegates Diswood back to 6th place. Well, he fights it back around the outside. He's not going to make it easy for him at all, but he gets a bit loose on the exit. There's still wheel to wheel with Speedy Snoopy on the outside of the left. He'll have the inside for the right if he holds it there. He manages to do it. They're going to be wheel to wheel through the fast right-hander. Diswood into the grass. Speedy Snoopy's still there on the outside. He's got to yield it here, definitely. Diswood manages to get it back, but Speedy Snoopy's still not having it. It's not over yet. To the inside, manages to get it done. He'll have the inside for the final corner as well. Bit of contact on the way in. All that fighting has dropped these guys off the back of the pack. And now they're in a bit of no man's land. Diswood not happy about that either. Will he go for a move? A little bit late on the brakes. Diswood's going to have a crack at him here. Either of these guys wanting to yield the position.
Well, just behind these two, we've also got a battle for 7th, which is a 4-car battle between John Turtle, GTR, and Lenosis at the moment.
Diswood manages to get back through. Have a look, GDR down the inside of Turtle Power and Lenosis. Managed to get through, and he's going to clear the Dadson car before the left as well. Beautiful move from GDR there. He's driving with confidence. The Lightning Motorsport car now under threat as well as GDR dives down the inside of John into the right-hander. That is not a corner you usually see moves made. The Dadson car into the fence on the way out. John manages to get it back though. The Lightning Motorsport car back into 7th place. Still got work to do. 10 seconds the gap to the lead for GDR still. This is lap 5. This is the pit window for 2 stoppers. If we're going to see anyone do a 2-stop, it will likely be at the end of this lap. Look, BD Snoopy and Diswood still close. BD Snoopy's probably going to get a good sniff on the main straight. Hunt and Goat as well in a good position. Looks like Geesh has settled in 2nd place. Too far behind the Muffin Man. Down like a short shift there from the kid. Go for a move. No, he'll go for the bump draft instead. Working together with Morgan Davey. He knows how quick Morgan Davey can be. Huge benefit for Mountain Goat. Just sit behind him. Save a bit of fuel.
I think this early in the race, that's the smartest move to go by for Goat. Push the car ahead, try and catch back up to the back of Geesh. And hopefully they can still be there in the last few laps to try and potentially make a move on them.
To play the long game. Goat, the masterful strategist. Got so much experience in this league. Despite being one of the younger drivers in the field. Know what he's capable of. And it looks like Captain Muffin is in. Captain Muffin is 2-stopping. And that puts him possibly out of the race up the front. Did not clear them by as much as you'd probably want to, although he's definitely cleared the likes of Diswood and Speedy Snoopy in terms of pace right now. Not a bad spot for Captain Muffin. That elevates Diswood to 4th, Speedy Snoopy to 5th. Looks like Snoopy back to playing the long game. GDR has cleared John and is pulling away. Now goes in pursuit of Speedy Snoopy. It's like levels. Going up in levels for GDR. Every driver he catches is going to be faster than the last. So it's going to get more and more difficult the further up the field he gets to overtake. Unless a driver decides to let him through for the benefit of their own race or otherwise. Fastest lap of the race so far from Morgan Davey. A 3:11.9. Geesh now.
So just looking at these top 3 cars, Geesh is the best off on fuel out of them.
At an advantage for fuel. What's the deficit for Morgan? Do you think he's going to make 7 laps?
I'd say Morgan's got roughly about 20% of his fuel left, where Geesh has got more like 35%.
Okay, so even if they're on the same strategy, Geesh is going to find 3 seconds in the pit lane or more.
Yeah, at least a couple of seconds in the pit lane at the moment, yeah, if they both go in at the same time.
And I think with the slipstream strength as strong as it is, 2-second jump in the pit lane is going to be enough to clear that slipstream range, and Morgan Davey will be stuck on his own pace with no assistance from Geesh. See what happens. And now my question is, will Morgan pit at the end of this lap? If so, likely to be stuck doing a 2-stop. Final sequence of corners. He's holding pace with Geesh quite nicely right now. And he comes. Morgan will be 2-stopping. Mountain Goat and Geesh. And then there were 2.
And you got Woody and Snoopy fighting again.
Guys won't give it up. Side for Snoopy, and he'll have that down to the end here. Now this is where it gets interesting. Who out of these 2 will push for fuel? Because they're side by side, and they're not trading pace at all. It was just late brakes for Woody, and he sweeps around the outside of the hairpin. What a move from Diswood for Brocchio 5 Sim Racing to take 3rd place. Now he needs to pull away. This fighting is not helping these guys. It's just allowing GDR to get closer and closer. GDR, who has copped a half-second penalty for track limits, I don't know where, possibly for the last corner. He's catching these guys. They need to sort themselves out, otherwise they're going to be under threat from him.
Well, out of Woody, Snoopy, and GTR, Snoopy's got the best tyres and fuel out of them.
GDR's lost it again. GDR's put it on the grass. He's managed to recover it, but it's another mistake from one of the best drivers this series has ever seen. Puts it in the grass once again. An unforced error. Is it us? Is it the commentator's curse? He's dropped about 2 seconds on where he was before. Should be able to recover it, assuming John doesn't throw it down the inside at any point. So, our 2 stoppers, Captain Muffin and Morgan Davey, have stopped. Madrick on a 1-stop. Bath appears to be on a 1-stop. Ricky Bobby appears to be on a 1-stop. Turtle Power, 1-stop. Lenosis, 1-stop. John, EDR, Snoopy. Here's his half-second, and there goes John. So this is going to be a big setback for GDR here. If John can get by, and can he? Down the inside. John will go for the move. A big setback for GDR now. He's got to get past John again.
Be interesting to see if Geesh goes for that 8th lap or not. Looking at the fuel, Goat's going to have to come in. It's going to have to come in now. His fuel light's blinking at him, telling it's time. It's refuel time.
Geesh stays out for the 8th. Mountain Goat comes in with 8 litres on board. This wood comes in also. Speedy Snoopy goes around again. A divergence in strategy. Now this is good. They needed to box opposite each other if they wanted to get away. Now it's a question of who's going to have the fastest outlap / inlap. GDR pits for fuel. Captain Muffin will jump these guys quite comfortably with another pit stop to make. After lap 8, Muffin will inherit the lead once again.
Got Madrick coming in for his stop as well.
Gar is out. E12 for the Hooncorp Esports driver. But Diswood is not too far up the road. And now, this is an opportunity for GTR to clear some people that are close to him who have run an 8th lap. Morgan on the 2-stop behind Captain Muffin, who's on an identical strategy. About 6 seconds as well. So a big difference in fuel loads most likely, the cause there. I wouldn't say that he's behind him by that much purely on pace, because we saw how quickly Morgan was driving. Could have been probably within 2 seconds on raw pace.
Yeah, so when Captain Muffin came in for his first stop, he only put 75 litres in the tank before coming back out. Whereas Morgan Davey at the moment's got about 80, probably just shy of 80 litres, or 80%.
So he's got 80 now, so he's probably put about 85, maybe more in, from a lower fuel load as well. So he's probably put about 20 litres in, which is about 4 seconds. So that tracks. So it's just the fuel load that's made the difference. So he's more or less on Muffin by net, realistically. So Muffin now ahead of Ricky Bobby, manages to keep ahead of him. Got clean air. So Muffin's doing really well on this 2-stop right now.
Well, we'll have Ricky Bobby coming in this lap, so Muffin won't have to worry about him. And all of the top 5 will be coming in this lap too.
Assuming Geesh is in the pits long enough, Muffin should inherit the lead from here.
John's going to be calling this close on fuel. He's probably got 0% in that tank when he gets to the fuel, when he gets to the pit lane.
Only just going to make it, but he has. Notice just behind him. Here's Captain Muffin coming down the straight. Geesh filling up now. Muffin's going to clear him, but not by a lot. About 6 more seconds stationary for Geesh. No, Geesh filled to 88%. So Geesh is going to continue to fuel save for the rest of the race. 8 seconds behind Muffin. No, he's cleared by Morgan Davey. But Morgan Davey makes a mistake and loses the position. Gives it right back. And unfortunately, that's a massive issue for Morgan. Really going to affect his race. A mountain goat.
So we've had Snoopy come out ahead of Woody.
Only just. So they're back together on track once again. Woody clearly frustrated by this. Around the outside for Woody. He tries it. Super deep under brakes, but not able to make it pay off.
And Snoopy's filled his tank right to the brim, so he's got a little bit more fuel than Woody at the moment. We might see that convert into a bit more pace down those straights.
We are still behind these two guys. Unfortunately, wasn't able to clear them during the stops. Muffin leads the way by 10. Good for him. So, how long's a pit stop here? About 20 seconds plus fuel?
Yeah, something like that. I'm just having a look at how far apart everyone is at the moment. I think he's gonna, if he was to pit now, he'd come out about 8th, 7th, 8th, I reckon.
Right where GDR is, yeah.
Kind of, yeah, more so probably where Lenocious is.
28 seconds down, so the gaps are pretty close further down there. There's quite a large gap between the leaders. You know, there's a big gap from Muffin to Geesh, and a big gap again from Speedy Snoopy to Mountain Goat as well. Speedy Snoopy appears to have pulled a bit of a gap on Diswood. Now this will be interesting to see if Diswood closes in enough on this back straight. Keep an eye on this, on board with this wood. Down the back straight. Pulled a bit of time. But he's not going to be nearly close enough to go for a move. Big coast into that hairpin at the end of the straight. Save a bit of fuel. But he's got his thinking cap on. Strategy cap. GDR will probably find it a bit easier to pick Woody off if he's by himself and not in a battle with someone else.
Captain Muffin with the fastest lap of 3:11.877 just set it that last lap.
Spot for him to be in. I get the feeling that Geesh being on a 7-lap stint will now have a little bit of extra pace under him, which might make the difference in obtaining that fastest lap. Lenosis off in the background there. Seen that in the back of the shot. Onto the dirt. Got himself a... didn't get a half second. Like his lap was written off for one reason or another. Maybe he was first lap out of the pits. Anyway, GDR locked in battle with Diswood and Speedy Snoopy. But now it looks like they're back fighting between each other. But does that make it easier or harder for GDR to get through?
Oh, well, you've got two cars. As you said, the more GTR climbs up, the faster the car is ahead of him that he's got to pass. So these two won't let him go. Yeah, so...
the way they're fighting each other, I think that's definitely true.
We've also got Mountain Goat ahead, not that it's going to affect anything, but he's just picked up a half-second penalty.
I'll come back to them a little bit. What's the gap there? 7.5, so that'll probably come down to about 6. So I think it'll be a bit of a tough ask for GDR to catch him from there, but you know, dangle the carrot, you might see some crazy results.
Just going back to this Snoopy, Wood and GTR little battle, I think Snoopy now needs to put the foot down, utilise the extra fuel he's got on board over Wood and GTR.
Yeah, well this is an
try
opportunity
and
to
run
get
away a bit.
because GDR will go for a move which will slow the pair of them down. Even if he gets it done first time of asking, the gap is going to increase, which means this is Speedy's opportunity to break the toe to Woody and give himself a bit of time to breathe and lock in that P6, assuming that GDR is going to get by. This is it. Here we go. Onto the back straight. GDR with a good run out of the corner. Not quite as fast as Woody. He's on a bit of a fuel save here, so he might be a bit compromised, and Woody's got the benefit of the slipstream from the driver in front as well. The gap is coming down. Will GDR be close enough to launch a move? Will Woody move to the inside? Let's see. GDR's going to think about it. Woody doesn't defend. Down into the hairpin. Woody's going to try to take the outside line and hold it, and he succeeds in doing so. Manages to get the power down. They're going to be wheel to wheel through the S's. GDR around the outside now. Got his nose ahead. Into the right-hander. Here we go. GDR manages to get the move done and makes it stick. Woody not able to respond. Muffin's in for his second stop. Now he may come out just behind these guys. GDR manages to hold it together there. And he's going to chop the nose off on the way through the right-hander here. And that is the move done on Woody. And the gap to Speedy Snoopy is now 1.2. So that has worked in Speedy Snoopy's favour. How much fuel does Muffin put in? He's up to 50 litres now. 75 might be the magic number. He's been cleared by these guys. He goes to 78. Is that him coming out of the pits behind us? Indeed it is. He's cleared Lenosis. And he's going to be quick now as well. He might be able to pull that time back to Diswood, especially if these guys fight amongst each other. They're all connected by slipstream now. There's about 7/10 between each of them, which means they're going to pull each other along and create a tougher battle between them. What point does GDR go for the move on Speedy Snoopy? It seems to be a matter of when and not if. If Speedy Snoopy fights it hard enough, he will bring Diswood back into the fight. We could see a three-way battle, yes.
Well, you've got Muffin starting to chew into Woody's time. He's already gained almost half a second on him.
Wow. Back straight. Especially, that's impressive considering that Diswood had a slipstream down that back straight as well.
Yeah, well, you got Muffin with fresher tyres, a lot fresher tyres.
Fresh tyres, probably put enough fuel in to push, I would imagine, given what his strategy sort of looked like so far. This wood's starting to fall off the back of GDR a little bit. GDR probably going to go for the move on Speedy Snoopy before long. The gap to Mountain Goat's about 6 seconds, so it's going to be a tough ask for GDR to get by two of them. I think Morgan Davies going to pit this lap, most likely, maybe the next. It would be pretty crazy to go to the next because he'd end up on a 3-lap stint to end. But it seems like the sort of thing Morgan Davies would do. He just likes to run the car into the ground and then pit instead of, looking ahead and making the stints an even length.
Morgan Davey has to pit. By the looks of it, it looks like he didn't take tyres in that pit stop. He just took fuel, so his rear tyres are both. His left rear's probably only got 5%, if that, left. It's like a little slither on the meter, it's mostly red.
That explains why he was so loose on the way out of that hairpin. Morgan Davies pretty comfortable with that sort of grip level, but you can see that the car is suffering regardless. He's 4 seconds down on his best lap over this lap, and he's just ceded the position to Mountain Goat very, very easily as well. We'll have to pit in for tyres and fuel this lap. I think that running those tyres... No, he's going around again. How much fuel does he have left?
So he's got probably somewhere between 35 and 40% fuel. So he took fuel in that stop, but yeah, compared to everyone else's tyres, yeah, no tyres.
I don't understand the thought process here. It would have just been better to go in for new tyres now. If he's not going to make it to the end, then it's definitely you got to pit there because you've got 3 laps after this stop. Assuming he stops at the end of this lap. 3 laps to go on fresh tyres, and you've just wasted 2 laps on completely worn tyres.
Well, is it the question that he knows he's not in for a good result being on the 2-stop and so many cars behind him? Is he holding out so he can have fresh tyres, low fuel, and go for that fastest lap?
He might be, but I think looking at it, even pitting just then and putting himself on fresh tyres would have been enough to give him an advantage on the fastest lap. Because Muffin's doing 5-lap stints, and if Morgan put himself on a 4-lap stint, he's naturally at an advantage. But I look forward to seeing Morgan through the S's on this lap, because I think he's going to have a very torrid time through there, maybe down here as well. What do you say those tyres are on now?
Oh, you've got maybe half a lap, if that, before that left rear is totally red.
Wow.
So both his front tyres are hovering around 50%, so they're fine. That rear right's probably on about 10% now, and that rear left is, less than 5%. A couple of pixels.
Let's chop one of those pixels off through this this right-hander rather. That left rear is going to take a beating here. Onto the back straight. The hairpin at the end of this, which will do more damage.
I reckon at the hairpin, that's when his tyre's going to give out on him. Into the S's after the hairpin.
Got the hazards on for some reason. PDR still stuck behind Speedy Snoopy. Morgan very loose through the hairpin there. Totally misses the apex, so there's that higher differential. And he might hinder Speedy Snoopy here as well. He's going to be very slow through these S's.
We got
Doesn't matter.
Muffin all over the back of Woody right now.
Good driving from Muffin. To the inside, no. Look at Morgan, see if he makes it through these last corners without getting too loose. As now, does he pit? Will he pit? He has to, surely. Got to know at this stage. There we go, in he comes. With 3 laps to go. A baffling strategy. Speedy Snoopy goes through ahead of Morgan Davey. Captain Muffin goes by Diswood on the main straight. Diswood down to 6th now. Muffin defending into the right-hander. Diswood's going to fight it back here, potentially. Muffin's got his sights set on the drivers in front of him. The hairpin. Woody doesn't go for anything. Muffin have his position. Woody could get dragged up into the fight up here. Get the feeling GDR is just waiting for his opportunity on Speedy Snoopy. Doesn't have to rush it. Speedy Snoopy purple through there as well. So
yeah,
after all that, Morgan Davey comes out in 10th. Just ahead of Faf here as well, the ISO car. Not far behind John. Gnosis got Turtle Power for company. Captain Muffin is cleared a gap to Diswood, who has just had an incident on the way onto the bridge, but managed to recover it. The
He's,
GDR
very
must be on
slowly.
some sort of conservative fuel save right now, because I'm very surprised that he hasn't got by being Snoopy.
Yeah, well, Snoopy's got probably about 10% more fuel than him and better tyres, especially the rear tyres are a lot better. And then you got Muffin behind him with better fuel and better tyres than them, so Muffin will be in full push mode now. Only 2.5 laps left.
This could be really exciting between these guys. Muffin catches them at the sort of the point where they come together. Could really take advantage. Podium is on. This is the last podium spot we're talking about here as well. Currently held by Speedy Snoopy, under threat from GDR, and with a Muffin waiting in the wings.
Unless there's a mistake from up the front, we can pretty much say that Geesh and Mountain Goat have got their positions safe, pending that they keep doing what they're doing. But yeah, the fight will be on for third between GTR and Snoopy, and Muffin, if he can close the gap. I will say he's gained 7/10 since the bridge, so that's about half a lap, and he's now 2.6 behind GTR. So he's going to have to be
hard on the back straight, that fuel advantage.
Yeah, well, he's got the fuel and tyre advantage on both the cars ahead. If he can just keep his head down and push, he just goes purple there for the lap. So a 3:11.7 from Muffin. So he is in race mode. He wants that podium spot. If not, he wants to get GTR at least.
Just having a look now at Gnosis versus Turtle Power. Very, very close between these two. It looks like the APR automotive car. Going to go for something here into the hairpin. Late move there from Turtle Power. Lenosis had nowhere to go. Not able to get to the inside. Lenosis has to fight another day. There's been masterful driving from Speedy Snoopy to hold on to this position from GDR. I think you know, to outpace this guy is no small feat to begin with, but in particular with the amount of pressure that he's under right now.
Yeah, he's had GTR on the back of him now for a few laps, hovering between that half a second and 1 second behind. So he's able to put something on him, and then GTR claws it back.
Chopping and changing between the pair of them, but GTR can't seem to get close enough to go for a move. What's interesting though is Muffin now 1.8 behind.
Yeah, so that's roughly another 7/10 he's made up. He's just gone 2/10 purple as well. So Muffin's head down, bum up, eyes forward.
Looking quick. Fresh tyres seem to be making a difference. It'll
It's
really
now down
help
to-
Muffin's case if these two start fighting amongst themselves, but I don't know if I can see it happening. Yeah, it just doesn't seem to happen.
Well, coming onto that back straight, he's now almost 4/10 purple, Captain Muffin. And that gap is now at 1.6.
Closing him down. The other person that's getting closed down is Mountain Goat. He's lost a second over the last lap. Gone from over 3 seconds the gap, 2.2 back to Speedy Snoopy. I wonder if Mountain Goat is fuel compromised.
Looking at it, possibly he should have enough to get home. He should have enough to get home.
So here is the way it sits as we come onto the final lap. Geesh leads the way by 11.5 seconds. Mountain Goat looks to be on the back foot, 1.5 clear of Speedy Snoopy, and the gap is dropping. Look at that. Speedy Snoopy in third, under pressure from GTR as he has been for the past 4 laps. GTR in fourth, piling the pressure onto Speedy Snoopy but not able to make a move. Captain Muffin in P5, he's a two-stopper, he's pushing hard. It looks like Mountain Goat's actually made a mistake on the exit of the second corner, and Speedy Snoopy elevates himself to second place here on the last lap. Looking back from Speedy Snoopy, that's huge for the Red Mist car as well. That's put a car between him and the Hooncorp car of GTR, which has been pressuring him for so long. This could mean a podium for GTR if he plays his cards right, but I think Speedy Snoopy might be just out of reach now. Muffin is waiting in the wings. You can see him in the background. This top 5 is absolutely insane right now.
You've got Mountain Goat and GTR both with identical fuel and tyres. Speedy Snoopy ahead, slightly better rear tyres, slightly better fuel, and then Muffin at the back of them, exactly the same fuel as Snoopy, but those mediums still look pretty fresh.
GTR to the inside, goes for a super move on Goat there, manages to make it stick by the look of things, although Goat has his nose to the inside still. He's going to stay in it. We'll have a look further back. We've got to see this close up. Muffin is in the fight now. Look at this. He's right on these guys as they come onto the bridge. Goat's going to look to the outside. I'm sure he didn't like that move. Muffin to the inside is going to go for a late move on Goat. No, thinks better of it. Waits for a later moment. It's going to be now or never for these guys. The slipstream on this back straight is going to prove a crucial part of this race. Can Muffin get the right launch? Nobody into the wall. GTR quick to break the toe. Muffin weaving every which way. Blocked by Goat as he tries to follow GTR. A bump from Muffin. This is a smart play from Muffin to push Goat up in front of him. It's going to be 3 wide from these guys. Muffin bumps him again. It's going to make all the difference potentially. What will Muffin do on the way into the hairpin? He's to the inside of Goat. He's going to take 2 and 1 here at the hairpin. Goat gets the switch back on him, but Muffin will have the traction. GTR's put it into the wall as he gets loose on exit with those worn tyres. Muffin into third place ahead of Goat and manages to make it stick. Somehow, he's not going to get Speedy Snoopy, I don't think, from here. Speedy Snoopy will probably hold on to second place. Geesh is going to come across the line. Out of the final corner he comes. to take first place. A resounding victory for the Respawn Esports driver. A great drive to take that first place. But the battle we want to see is for second, third, and fourth. Speedy Snoopy will take second place in just his third race in Division 1. It's a fantastic drive from the Red Mist car. Captain Muffin on the alternative strategy comes home in third place, and Mountain Goat a dejected fourth after such a well-run race for so much of the distance. Turtle Power in fifth, a great result for him. Diswood in sixth, ahead of Lenosis in seventh, and GDR will run out of fuel on the way to the line. He looks like he'll manage to hold on to eighth place here ahead of John. He just manages it, and John in ninth, Morgan Davey in 10th, and Ricky Bobby behind Faf, 11th for Faf, 12th for Ricky Bobby, and Mad Rick will be the final finisher, or it looks like he may not make it to the line, but 13th for the Division 4 fill-in, ran a clean race, did what he needed to do, got the team points. But what a battle for the top positions. The podium was insane, and I'm sure there will be much chatter between these guys about this race. GDR, after all that, he's had 3 major incidents in this race, and he ended up in P8. He was on for a potential second place there, but could not quite make it last all the way to the line. It's unclear whether he would have made it to the line if he hadn't had that spin. But it was a fantastic race nonetheless from him.
Well, that was a masterclass by Jeesh there, you know, controlling his fuel throughout the race, doing the one stop, knowing that he was in a great position and just keeping his head down and on track. He's got the win, but Speedy Snoopy with a second, the quiet achiever of the race. And then you got Muffin, probably the best we've seen that two-stop strategy work. Bringing it home in third, the last step on the podium.
It was a fantastically executed two-stop, I think, for Muffin. Really, really impressive. And early nomination for Driver of the Day for me, definitely Muffin. Speedy Snoopy a close second. Wow. What a race that was.
What a finish, eh?
Can't believe how that went down. Absolutely insane. Congratulations to all of our drivers for that one. You put on a fantastic show for us, and we could not be happier with what we saw on our stream. Move over to our results now. Here you go. As it stands, pending any penalties, which I don't know if we'll see many of for that one. Jeesh takes the win for Division 1 here at Sinquasi for round 5 and extends his chokehold on this championship. Speedy Snoopy in second, ahead of Captain Muffin in third. Mountain Goat in fourth. Unlucky to drop down a little bit further, but it's one of those things that happens. Turtle Power with a great result in fifth place. They'll be very happy with that. And Diswood in sixth. Back to the comeback that you predicted Black Friday. It was pretty well predicted, I think, from you. Lenosis in P7, GDR in P8, with some really unfortunate incidents as the race progressed. John in 9th, Morgan Davey in 10th after a very odd two-stop strategy. He looked like he was going to be competitive, and then he really fell off the pack in the late stages of the race. Faf in 11th, Ricky Bobby in 12th, Mad Rick takes 13th, and an unfortunate DNF for Young Wakey sees him miss the chance to be part of that podium battle, which it looked like he would have been if not for that disconnect. So hugely disappointing for him, and hopefully the only time that happens to him over the rest of his Sector 1 career. Wakegate suffers a setback, unfortunately. I'm sure he'll bounce back at the next round. So, Black Friday, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that all came down to that last lap. You had Captain Muffin coming up to the back of GTR very quickly. He was chasing down Snoopy, and Goat was in the mix there and all that. It just, yeah, no, that was a great race. I think I'm going to have to give my Driver of the Day nomination to Muffin for making that two-stop strategy work, coming out in third with the fastest lap as well. And I bet you if that race went one more lap, he would have had Snoopy as well.
Yeah, yeah. I have to say, after we saw Division 3, I had made up my mind that the two-stop strategy was not a viable option, but Captain Muffin said, "No, sir. Uh, I'll make it work. Don't you worry." And here he is on the podium with the alternative strategy. So a huge congratulations to Muffin, and he gets my driver of the day as well. And I think the chat tends to agree. I see a special mention to Speedy Snoopy. Definitely have to agree with that. P2 is a great result for him. He'll be stoked with that. Turtle Power as well. A quiet race, but a good result for him as well. So definitely really well done. DDR unfortunate. He was a big part of that race from start to finish. Unfortunately, being the one to spin in the late stages, sees him with a slightly less glamorous P8, but he ran a great race for the most part. And I think he can be happy with the pace he set for sure. One of the only two drivers who was able to set a 3 minutes 10 lap time. Captain Muffin close though, 3:11.1 in the end. He was able to set, so he was bloody close too. So very well done to the podium. Well done to all our drivers. Thank you all for being part of this fantastic broadcast. It has been a pleasure for us to bring it to you. So a big thank you from us at the team and the team at Sector 1 Sim Racing for being part of this, and we will see you all for the next one. If you haven't already, please leave a like on the broadcast. It helps us out with the algorithm to promote us to as many sim racing fans around the world as we can get. If you're new, subscribe if you want to see more of what you've seen tonight, and ring that bell notification so that you get notified every time we go live. And that's every Sunday at the moment, and every other Thursday for the community series. Join the Discord if you want to get involved in the racing. We have a community series which anyone can enter, and it's a lot of fun. But we will see you for the next round. No, not the next round, sorry. With Group B here at St. Croix next weekend. So keep an eye out for that. But until then, that is us run and done. We'll see you all later.